Hang on. Okay, there we go. Just needed to adjust a little bit. All right, welcome to the stream, everybody. Let me see if I'm actually live everywhere. Then we can get started on this list. Ooh. I also need to mute myself over here. Don't know if the mic will actually pick that up or not. But today we're trying something a bit new today. Today I'm going to be trying to make the Killing Floor 2 tier list that I've been making on the channel, but do them live. And this will still be a charity stream. Today is the first day of the charity stream for St. Jude's Children's Hospital this December. And this will be going for the entire week. So if you guys would like to donate, you can. If you're on YouTube, there should be if you're on YouTube or Facebook. Sorry. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, there should be a link down below in the description where you can click on that, and then that will let you go and donate any amount that you would like. Any amount is accepted. All of it goes through Tiltify. Tiltify and I do not see any of it. It goes all to the charity. Let me see if I'm live on Facebook as well. So I have this set up right now for the Berserker weapons, which I was planning on doing next. I really enjoy playing Berserker. I don't think that it's a super popular class at the moment, at least in terms of how many people actually play it. That being said, it's still one of my favorite classes, and it is very, very strong. It's actually ridiculously strong. Let's see, share this as well. And then we'll go from there, and we'll make some other lists too, depending on how far this goes. Let's see, that should have been me. Yeah. Liking and sharing my own stream. Okay. So hopefully this is all right. Hopefully this isn't too distracting for anybody, because I don't have like the headset on, so I'm not hearing all the notifications just coming out of my speaker. I don't think my mic will pick it up since it's decently far away, and I don't have this blaring super loud or anything. So let's begin. Also, if you'd like to donate and you're over on Twitch, you can type in ! Donate. Oh, thank you for the subscribe, Aiden. I appreciate that. Yes, if you're over on Twitch, you can either go down to the panels and click on the charity donation link, and it'll take you there, or you can type into the chat ! Charity, and then that'll give you a link, and you can donate there. All right, well, let's start. So right now I've got all the Berserker weapons. They're not lined up, which maybe I should do that real quick as to what tier they are. Let's see, you're also tier 2, you're also tier 2. We can just go on it as is. And I do have the Killing Floor wiki page pulled up. I also, somewhere, and now I forgot exactly where I saved it. Whoops, where I need to go. I saved the practical numbers of the Berserker weapons as well, because certain weapons attack in a different way. I think the only one, or the only two that are really noteworthy are the Katana and the Road Redeemer. Those two are generally better with light attacks than they are with heavy attacks. Let's see, where did I save this now? Let me see if I can't find that file. It was just like a little notepad thing, but I can't remember where I saved it to. Doesn't really matter. I can always pull up the calculator here and we can do it live. Also probably pull up chats and everything to make sure I'm not missing out on any messages. Discord is... Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm live streaming. And this technically counts as a video. All right, let's start with the basics. So the stuff that you start out with when you spawn in as Berserker. So you start out with a 9mm pistol, your Croval, your EMP grenades, and the lawnmower blade. So The lawnmower blade, it's a knife. Berserker does very well with melee weapons. It has the same everything as everybody else's knife. It's not bad on Berserker, but Berserker uses melee weapons the best out of every class, so it is the best weapon for Berserker. That being said, it is going in D tier. There is no reason to use it unless you're going full ranged Berserker build, using probably the nail gun and the Tesla launcher here. That is the only reason why you'll ever be pulling out your knife. And that is to block something like a flesh pound running up and trying to hit you so that you can block it and continue shooting. Full range Berserker is not a super popular loadout. It might be at lower ranks. Also keep in mind this tier list is based on my opinion, and I generally play on Suicidal and Hell on Earth. Sorry, my screen sharing's being a little bit weird, but so that is going to definitely factor into my opinions, where you can definitely, and I have done this, you can use the knife all the way through Hell on Earth with Berserker, and it's really not that bad. But that's just because Berserker's really strong with melee weapons. But in all practical uses, there's no real reason to use only the knife as Berserker, because you start out with a Crowbar, which is so much better than the knife anyway. It has longer reach, it has higher damage. You can upgrade it. That's a big one. So, I mean, if you want more of a... I mean, you can always just use the Crowbar. You're always going to spawn in with it. Even if you die, you're going to spawn in with it. So, yeah. Down in D tier it goes. Up next, 9mm pistol. I put this generally in B or C tier for most classes, and it's going to go there too for Berserker, because Berserker actually can use the 9mm decently well, at least early on into the matches. It's a good weapon to clear up bloats with. Bloats do pose a threat to you early on, especially for people that don't have the best timing with Berserker weapons. It's very easy to rush in, get vomited on by the bloat, and then die horribly, slowly, without being able to block or anything, because they'll just keep vomiting on you. So you can kind of see this in newer Berserkers or Berserkers that tend to panic. They will either never block and just go full damage, which in that case is probably the best answer for that. Or they will panic and they'll just turtle up to try to block as much as they can, and it doesn't work well for bloats. This also can be used against husks too early on. They pose another threat to you. Husks and bloats generally cause you the most threat, at least in the early game. Later on, things like flesh pounds still can cause threats, not so much for Berserker, but anything that does a ranged attack is going to be difficult for Berserker. Without either a ranged weapon, or without teammates supporting, or without I guess just the willingness to go in. Berserker can be a very difficult class to figure out what you want to do, when you want to go in, when you don't. So the 9mm pistol does kind of add to that. Helps you not have to commit that hard. Lets you do things like that. So C tier it goes. It's okay. Let's see. And then the EMP grenade. Now, the EMP grenade does very little damage when you throw it, which is kind of a good and a bad thing. It means that you can't kill yourself very easily with it, although some people have told me that they have killed themselves with this. And they've also killed themselves with frost grenades too, which I've never done that, but it does do a little bit of damage back to you. The EMP effect makes it so Zeds are unable to use their special ability. So sirens can't scream when they're under the effect of this. Bloats can't vomit when they're underneath the effect of this. Husks cannot blow up or blow fire at any time while they're under the effect of this. And Skrakes and Flesh Pounds cannot frenzy or go berserk or whatever you want to call it. That being said, it does not affect Skrakes or Flesh Pounds if they're already enraged and they're chasing. Then it doesn't. Same with if a Husk is in like a flame animation, it might not cancel it out. It kind of depends. It's sort of hit and miss with husks at times. If they're fully charging the hit, it might go off before the effect of the EMP counts as ticking. With the flamethrower, it might count as the flamethrower going for a second or two more than it normally would. Or with the explosion, I don't know if it can cancel it if they're already so far into the animation. That being said, it is kind of useful for all those situations. It's pretty nice. This also affects the bosses as well. It makes it so bosses can't do certain things, at least as easy. Like, I don't think the Patriarch can cloak or the Matriarch can cloak if they're under this, or use their other guns. That being said, this does seem to tick away faster on bosses, though, so you can't stun lock them for very long with this. Even so, quite a good grenade. I'm going to put it in B tier. Has a lot of uses for it. It's not as useful as, say, like a medic grenade or potentially a freezing grenade, but it's not bad either. It's pretty decent. All right, then we got the Crovel here. So this is when I'm going to have to pull up some stats, because every melee weapon has a ton of stats, and I would like to convey them reasonably to you. So, the Crovel has both slashing and bludgeoning damage. Certain creatures take more and less damage depending on what type of attack you use. Generally, blunt damage does the more damage to more things, especially to larger things, where slashing damage does more to smaller things. And for damage, the Crovel starts out doing 49 damage with its light attacks, 86 damage with its heavy attacks, and 15 damage with its push attack. Now, you do have 128 rate of fire with the slashing attack, so light attack, 60 attack speed, or 60 attacks per second with the heavy attack, and 82 with the bash. There's also a parry and a blocking multiplier with all melee weapons as well. And the Crovel has 50% damage reduction when parrying, and 40% damage reduction when blocking. And you can block and parry any type of melee hit. So you can't block and parry like a husk shot or a husk flamethrower. You can't do that. But you can block like a Scrake's Chainsaw, a Fleshpound's hit, any sort of melee Z hit, as I said. And the Crovel does pretty well early on because it doesn't have any ammo, which is a big plus in the early game. It has decent reach for a melee weapon. That's another thing I should have mentioned. It has a 1.5 meter reach. That's not bad. Its blunt damage with its heavy attack is actually pretty good. And its scaling isn't too bad either. I don't think it's the best scaling Berserker weapon, but it's not terrible. And this is the thing when talking about the upgrades only factor into whatever the highest damage is. So if your highest damage is a bash, it'll go with that. If your highest damage is a heavy attack, it'll go with that, or a light attack, it'll go with that. So since Crovel has the highest blunt, I'm saying that, but it's just for the sake of the site. The site has just their highest stat increase. So it increases all your stats. It increases your light attack, your heavy attack, and your push attack. But just for that sake, it's only heavy attack that we're going to be looking at here with the Crovel. Because the Crovel light attacks are okay early on. It has enough damage to kill any of the trash Zeds with one hit, pretty much, even on 6-man Hell on Earth. You can do that, or 2 hits. I think it's 1 hit in the head, 2 hits in the body. I'm not sure if that is also applicable to like arms and legs. Might be a bit more, and then it might be 3 hits for light attacks. Heavy attacks will one-shot everything, even on 6-man Hell on Earth, at least trash Z-wise. It can also, I believe, 2-hit bloats, assuming you're running the smash ability. So, each rank of, each level up for the Crovel gives it either, it's 20% damage, 45% damage, 65% damage, or 85% damage, which at max makes it weigh 8, and its heavy attack damage does 160 damage with a swing. Which for 8 weight and 160 with heavy attack is not that good, especially for a blunt weapon. Berserker does have better options than that. So I'm going to put the Kroval probably in C tier. It's not bad. It's perfectly acceptable. It does everything that you want it to do, and it's kind of nice just to pick up off the ground with really any class. You're never disappointed to see a Kroval, because also it has the blocking and parrying thing, which can be really good given certain situations. I've survived various situations with classes like SWAT or Commando, where I've just seen a Kroval laying on the ground, picked it up, blocked a Flesh Pounder or a Scrake that was raging, and survived, and then was able to get away and heal, or flashbang it and kill it. It's not a bad option. It's pretty decent. Alright, moving on to tier 2 weapons. Up next we have the Katana, which the Katana has definitely seen better days. So the Katana's primary attack does about 70 damage, a swing, the heavy attack does 90 damage, and the stab attack also does about 70 damage. Now this one has a 1.9 meter reach, so it actually has quite a long reach for a melee weapon. Its parry strength is the same as the Kroval, so it has 50% damage reduction on a parry, 40% damage reduction when blocking. Its upgrades are pretty good. It gets 20% increase in damage each time you upgrade it, and it goes up to a weight of 7 with its maximum damage. I believe its maximum light attack damage is about 110, which is what the Katana excels at. Its heavy attack is much slower than its light attack. Its light attack is actually more than twice the speed of its secondary attack. And for the damage difference, light attacks are definitely better, as well as its stab attack is pretty nice as well. Berserker is so OP, every weapon he has is S tier in some way. In certain regards, yeah, you're right, Useless Chubb. I think that I want to try to make it to where it's mostly based on the weapon, not just how great is the class overall, because otherwise almost all a gunslinger's weapons are also going to be in S tier. Just because the class makes it so good. And that is true with Berserker too. Berserker can get away with, I mean, I've beat Hell on Earth with just the knife before. A couple of times, and it wasn't the most difficult thing ever. So, yeah, you're not wrong about that. Let's see, the Katana. I mean, it attacks fast. It deals a lot of damage to small things. It's one of the few weapons that you want to take. Oh, I'm forgetting the skill now. Whichever one is the opposite of Smash. Let me look that up really fast. The Smash gives you heavy damage, which you don't necessarily need with the Katana. It doesn't benefit the most from that. It's the Massacre, that's the one. This Massacre just gives you more damage with light attacks and faster attack speed, which is definitely what the Katana wants. So that's not bad. And I don't think it's awful. I know not a lot of people like the Katana anymore because it has not really been nerfed, but it's just everything else is kind of caught up to it, and there's things that do its job better now. It's still not bad, though. And the stab attack is pretty nice. The stab attack can take off, like, bloats mouths. They can't vomit on you, then they just vomit on the ground. I mean, unless you're pressed right up against them, then it still counts, but... I'm also going to put the Katana in C tier. Because I think it's okay. I don't necessarily think it's an upgrade to the Kroval. And it sort of is in some way. It's better at clearing trash than the Kroval, but the Kroval's better at dealing damage at heavier things. So they have different jobs, but I think they're both probably C tier-ish. Not terrible. The Road Redeemer, everything that I said about the Katana also applies to the Road Redeemer because it has the exact same stats and the exact same scaling. This one does blunt damage instead of slashing. I did say blunt damage was better, but the Katana does have the stab attack, which is better than the push attack from the Road Redeemer. The Katana also has the draw attack, which is kind of cool. It's more of a meme than anything, though. For anybody that isn't aware, you can when switching weapons to the katana, if you hold in your heavy attack, you'll do a draw attack as soon as you pull it out, kind of slashing everything in a straight arc in front of you. I've actually done a video on this where I only used this attack for, I think it was 4 waves Hell on Earth, and beat it first try. So it's like you can still definitely win with the katana. It's just this isn't as practical. It's just swinging it really, really fast. If you are going to do this, though, then the smash ability is better because it does count as the heavy attack. So yeah, Road Redeemer goes right there with katana. Probably a little bit below it because I think the stab attack does kind of make up with the katana. Then we got the fire axe. This is another weapon that sometimes people don't like. It's kind of strange because usually people do kind of like the Crovel, and that might just be because it's free, which is a good option. The fire axe does 90 damage on its light attack, 135 damage on its heavy attack, and 20 damage on its push attack. And then all attacks from this count as slashing except for the push, which counts as bludgeoning damage. That being said, it does have kind of a strange attack speed, where attacking overhead with its swing is actually the slowest, and attacking backwards is the fastest. That's a little bit different, but it actually still does more damage when you swing overhead, because the way melee weapons work in this game, you do more damage depending on which angle you're attacking from, and overhead vertical swings do the most amount of damage. So you still generally want to do that. Let's see, it has the same block and parry multiplier as the katana, the Road Redeemer, and the Crovel. So 50% damage reduction on a parry, 40% damage reduction when blocking. It does have good scaling too. It has the exact same scaling as the katana. So it gets 20 damage, or 20% increase in damage each time you upgrade it, with 1 additional weight, making it 8 weight. And then its heavy attack damage does somewhere around 215. Now, it's actually quite a lot of damage. It actually does hit pretty hard when you hit with it. Fire Axe is one of those weapons that was very good in Killing Floor 1, but in Killing Floor 2, it's just meh. Probably because stun is not as guaranteed as in Killing Floor 1. Probably. That is a good point. Certain weapons that do stun are pretty nice. And yeah, I've noticed that the Fire Axe doesn't stun that often. It does hit quite hard, but it's still sort of lacking compared to other weapons. Let's see, what does this thing's reach anyway? I don't remember. Okay, this has 1.9 meters reach, so same as a katana, same as the Road Redeemer. So pretty nice reach. It is sluggish, though. It's not one of my favorite weapons to go for, but at the same time, it's not awful. I think I'm actually going to put this one in B tier, because I feel like it is more of an upgrade to the Crovel, especially with its heavy attacks. I think it is a little bit better than these other weapons overall, if you're going to use it all the way throughout the game, but just a little bit. I think it's sitting at the low end of B tier, where these are sitting kind of at the higher end of C tier compared to most other weapons. And keep in mind, this is only Berserker weapons comparing to themselves, so when I do the big Killing Floor list where I compare everything to everything, then spots might shift around too. Certain weapons might just be better based on utility. Alright, and then for our final tier 2 weapon, we've got the nail gun. The nail gun's a weird one too, especially on Berserker. It shines more on support than Berserker. It does give Berserker an early ranged weapon, which is kind of nice. It kind of sucks that you can't block with it though too. So let's see, the nail gun, where's that? Vlad 1000 nail gun. So the nail gun holds 42 nails, and shoots 7 rounds, I believe. Yeah, 7 nails in its shotgun mode, or you can fire it one at a time. It does 35 damage a shot. With the 7 nails, if you hit all 7, then you're doing 245 damage, which is pretty good. This also has extra penetration ability, so you can punch through multiple enemies with it. and it ricochets off of floors, walls, ceilings, everything like that. So you can bounce them into enemies too. That being said, they have one of the slowest projectile speeds that on high difficulties, things like crawlers can jump out of the way of your nails, and it's rather frustrating when you're just trying to kill something far away and it just keeps dancing back and forth and you can't hit it. So that's a factor too. Let's see, this thing weighs 5, and with upgrades, it actually scales pretty well. It gets 40% bonus damage at max rank, which makes it go from 35 damage a pellet to almost 50 damage a pellet. And for a total of 343 damage at a weight of 8. That's not bad. This is also the first real semi-auto shotgun you get access to. Oh, hello, Candace. How are you today? Nice to see that you could make it to the stream. Oh, and I missed a donation. Let me check that really fast. And we are holding a charity stream today too, guys. Today we are raising money for St. Jude Children's Hospital. You can donate any amount you'd like. There is a link down below on the YouTube page, on the Facebook page, and in the panels down below on Twitch. So thank you, Granny T, for the donation. I really do appreciate that. The charity really appreciates that too. All right. Also, if you can't donate and you'd still like to help out, you can always share the stream with friends and family. See if they like this kind of video. I don't know. This is the first time I've done this type of just talking video, but we'll see how it goes. And thanks everybody for showing up. Anyway, back to the nail gun. The nail gun is also extremely cost effective. If you run completely out of ammo with it and buy back all of its ammo, it only costs $350. That is very, very cheap. Its semi-auto fire also makes it so you're not going to be using up rounds that quickly. It does benefit from patience and just its huge its huge ammo pool. This is a weapon I would recommend for newer players to Berserker to pick, just because it is a ranged option. It does give them some choice, but also I would recommend them probably still keeping the Croval or some other melee weapon to at least block and parry with, so they can get more used to that. And certain aspects or certain perks also work with this. So like Vampire still works with the nail gun, so you can still get health back with it, which is kind of nice. Let's see, the Skirmisher still works with it, so you still get the bonus movement speed, which is nice. It used to not do that, which was one of the things that made it one of the worst Berserker weapons. And Smash still applies to it, where it still gets the bonus headshot damage. This gun's kind of weird. Overall, it does actually have a lot of burst damage potential, but it does have kind of a slow reload. It has a lot of pros and cons to it. It's one of those weapons. Hey, Pickle Rick. I'm good. How are you? Let's see. I feel like the nail gun is B tier. That's kind of what I was going for as well. I feel like the nail gun's kind of B tier as well. It does certain things good, and it does certain things not so good. It's kind of one of those weapons where it's not bad at what it does, and it does give Berserker an early ranged option. I think it's better on support. Support can definitely make more use of it, but it's not bad on Berserker. So up with the Fire Axe you go. Alright, now we're on to tier 3 weapons, aren't we? And there's a couple. I gotta remember, is the Frostfang tier 3? I think it is. Seems like it is, because I think you can upgrade it twice, so yeah, it probably should be. Let me see real quick. I'm pulling up the cheat sheet on the Killing Floor official wiki, which also helps me remember, like, actually say the numbers of each of these. Yeah, Frostfang's tier 3. Okay. So, let's actually not do Frostfang right away. Let's talk about this weapon right here. The Hemoclobberer. I don't think anybody's going to be surprised where I put this. But the Hemoclobberer weighs 4. which is an extremely good weight. It does have a magazine. It holds 3 rounds in it. You can hold 12 extra. With its light attack, it does 80 damage. And with its heavy attack, it does 130 damage. Plus 200 damage because of its healing explosion. Now, the healing explosion has a 5-meter radius. It will heal every ally within that radius a certain amount. It works very similar to a medic grenade. It will also apply toxic to all enemies within that 5-meter radius. Anything that has toxic on it will take damage over time and has the possibility of kind of freaking out and losing aggro and just kind of panicking. This is very good against Gregs and Flesh Pounds. Also, the light attack does this too. The light attack also applies toxin. I don't think the push attack does, but you're never going to use the push attack anyway. Let's see. This one has a blocking multiplier where it's the same as these other weapons. It's the same as the axe, the Kroval, katana, road redeemer. So 50% damage reduction when parrying, 60% or 40% damage reduction when blocking, which is still fine. Its upgrades really don't upgrade it that much because full recharge time with this doesn't really matter. And it only gets 10% more damage every time you upgrade it. I think that also scales with the explosion damage. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it does. And then it gets up to 2 weight, so it's 6 weight at max. That is really good. Hemo Clobber is meta, so S. Exactly, yeah. You guys seen where I was going with this. Yeah, you guys seen exactly where I was going with this. This thing's, yeah, it's S tier. It's so ridiculously good. Like, being able to, like, self-sustain yourself as Berserker when you already have a lot of self-sustain is even better. Being able to completely get out of situations that you really shouldn't be able to, like if there's 3 Flesh Pounds that jump on you, you can hit them with this and then usually run away. You can clear up so many little guys with this. It clears out so much so well. And like the added healing is just a bonus. Where its weight is just so good. Explosion damage is scaled only with Pulverizer, probably. Maybe. I don't know, because it also, at least on their the wiki, it also says it scales with explosion bonuses for both demo and survivalist. So anything that increases explosion radius also works with this. And I think the explosion damage works, like builds up. If not, it doesn't matter because it's still really strong. Like just doing a flat 200 damage is nice, plus damage over time. Yeah, this weapon is dumb. It's so dumb. The main thing is like it also doesn't weigh very much, so you can take anything with it, and it works just fine. Like that yeah. We're just gonna put that in S tier and move on. Let's move on to the Pulverizer, since we're talking about that. Pulverizer is a very unique weapon, and I both kind of love and hate it at the same time in certain ways. I love that it does a ridiculous amount of heavy damage. So its primary attack does 80 damage. Oh, it weighs 6 and it holds 5 rounds in it, 15 extra. Another one of the few Berserker weapons that has an ammo pool, but don't necessarily need that. Its heavy attack without ammo does 145 damage. With ammo, it does 383 damage, counting also as explosive damage and blunt damage, which is cool. Bash we don't really care about. It's actually got a pretty decent attack rate with its heavy attack as well. The main reason why I said I didn't like this, though, is its light attack I don't like. It does have a high chance of knockdown and stunning, but that doesn't always help you the most. It sometimes just helps you more to kill things. So I love it when it has ammo. I don't love it when it doesn't have ammo is the thing. Let's see. It has the same, or wait, no, it has more damage reduction than these other tier weapons. This one has 60% damage reduction when parrying and 50% damage reduction when blocking. That's pretty nice. It only gets a 10% increase in damage. And I say only because it does actually have ridiculously high damage. So having 20% bonus damage at max is actually a lot. The explosion also deals damage to everything around you too. It doesn't do as much as the direct target that you hit, but it does do splash damage to everything around you. It can't hurt you or friends though. Well, I guess nothing can hurt friends in this game, huh? This isn't a gun. The pulverizer's pretty good. I really like it for its heavy attack. Its heavy attack is really, really strong, especially with the smash ability added too. That does a lot of damage. Like I said, I don't care for the knockdown ability as much. Its light attacks are okay, and its heavy attacks without ammo are okay, but with ammo is where it really shines. I'm going to put this in A tier at high A tier. It's a pretty good choice. I say, yeah, I think A. I think A is a good place to put the pulverizer. It's what it does. It does very well. Like if you're gonna take on flesh pounds, this thing destroys them. And it can destroy crowds well too if you place it right. I think this one's actually got a little bit shorter range. Pulverize is actually very fun. Just by the way, you bring every enemy on the map in one place and explode them. Yeah, exactly. But Demo just does it 24/7 with every weapon he has, though. Yeah. Oh yeah, when I get around to Demo, I'm gonna talk about this weapon on Demo, and well, it's not gonna be A tier for Demo. Let's just say that. I've tried to make it work on Demo so many times, and it never does. Let's see. Oh yeah, I was checking the reach. Yes, this does have a little bit shorter reach. This has a 1.7 meter reach, so it's slightly shorter than some of these other weapons. Longer than the Kroval, shorter than like the Katana, Axe, Clobber. Really good weapon though. If you use ammo, I think it's best if you use something else with it in combination rather than rely on only it. At least that's the way I use it. Is just take it and use it as heavy attacking weapon to kill flesh pounds. And then, you know, switch to whatever your other weapon is and use that. We have one more, and that is the Zweihander. Zweihander is really awesome. I really like it. Now for it has a weight of 7. Its primary attack or its light attack does 85 damage. Heavy attack does 195. Its stab does 63. So stab isn't the greatest. It also has a 1.9 meter reach. So same as some of these other weapons. I think it would actually have a little bit longer reach, but whatever. This one also has kind of a weird parry and block, because parry, if you parry with this weapon, you get 60% damage reduction. If you block with it, you get 40%. So you're actually much more encouraged to parry with this weapon than pretty much every other weapon that we've talked about so far, since every other weapon kind of scales about the same, which is different. And this thing's upgrades aren't way impactful. It only gets 5% increase in damage each time you level it up. So 9 weight for about the same as the Fire Axe, actually. 215 damage. That's not the best, especially for a tier 3 weapon, when you can upgrade the axe and do the same. That being said, though, it is better weight for damage if you don't upgrade it. At 7 weight, it's not bad. You don't really get that much of an increase when you upgrade it. It's much better if you keep it unupgraded and just use it as that. And I think for that reason, I'm going to put it in A tier. It's a little bit better than the Fire Axe in some ways, but it's also very similar to the Fire Axe in some ways too. Oh, hey, Boomer. Or okay, Boomer. This channel is a hidden gem. Wish more could see it. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that you like the channel. Let's see. Yeah, that's all. No, wait, Frostfang. I said the Frostfang was tier 3, and it is. Oh, wait, this is tier 3 too, isn't it? I lied. I said that one was the last one, and it's not. Still got 2 more. So I'm pretty sure that. Oh, wait, no. HRG Tesla launcher is a tier 4. Never mind. I thought it was tier 3. Found this by searching short and sweet. Oh, yeah, that game. That game was really cool. I played that a couple years ago, but it was nice. Let's see. So the Frost Fang. The Frost Fang is also pretty ridiculous right now. You get a gun and a melee weapon, which I've always wanted Berserker to have. It was kind of disappointing when they didn't get the Mosin. I felt like they deserved that. I think the Mosin would actually be really ridiculous on Berserker. But this thing's pretty ridiculous too, in my opinion. Oh yes, this counts as a support weapon, so I gotta look over. There it is. So this one does 75 damage with its melee hit. Unless the target is frozen, then it does 185 damage on melee hit, which is very big. It also has a pretty decent melee speed too. It attacks pretty quickly there. And for its shotgun use, it fires out 7 pellets to do 30 damage, resulting in 210 damage if you hit with all of them, plus giving you the ability to freeze things, which freeze things is one of the best status effects you can have, because it locks down a target to where they can't move. It also doesn't have that much spread compared to other shotguns too. And it's fairly fast to reload. With its upgrades, it gets bonuses to both the shotgun and the melee. 50%, 15% bonus damage with shotgun damage for the first upgrade, and then 25% overall increase to the shotgun with its second upgrade. With its melee, it gets 10% and 20%. And then it goes up by 1 or 2 pounds, making it 9 pounds at most. 9 pounds is okay for Berserker, because you can still... This thing obviously exists. This thing also exists, so you have some pretty good options there. I think S, but I can see it at A. Yeah. This is a good channel though, and the first time I was ever noticed by a streamer. Okay, bye, I'll be back. All right, see you. Okay, Boomer. Nice talking with you. Yeah, like the Frostfang, it's so good, especially on boss wave against certain bosses, because you can freeze the Patriarch in place, and then he's pretty much dead. You can freeze Flesh Pounds and kill them almost instantly with this thing. You can freeze Scrags and almost kill them instantly with this thing. It gives you a ranged option that's not bad, and it has that nice medium range where I think Berserker really where Berserker should really excel at. That close to medium range is where they should excel at. So I'm going to put this one in S tier as well. It's going to be lower S tier. It's not going to be as crazy as this thing, but then nothing else is as crazy as this thing in my opinion too. So yeah, I think it goes right there pretty well. So then we got tier 4 and tier 5 weapons. Let me move, and let's move the tier 5s over here. Talk about the tier 4s. And let's talk about the static strikers. Now I know there's a good amount of people that actually really like this weapon. I'm not one of them probably. I don't think this weapon is for me. It seems super fun. Punching stuff is super fun. That's not the problem I have with it. And the EMP blast is cool, but I don't find it super practical either on this weapon, because the EMP blast only affects Zeds within a certain area around you when you hit them. It doesn't have like a AoE splash, which feels a little bit weird. Its light attack does 95 damage, its heavy attack does 175 damage, and its bash does 100 damage. It only has a 1.5 meter reach, so it's the same reach as the Kroval, which you really actually feel when you're using this. It has a very weird hitboxes too, in my opinion. That being said, its block and parry is actually the same. It has 60% damage reduction on blocks or parries, so blocking with this weapon is not a bad option. For its upgrade, it gets 10% bonus damage with 1 extra weight, which puts it up to 8. That's not too bad for its heavy attack and for its light attack. This one you can use either Massacre or Smash with. It's not bad on either of them, or it's not bad using either of them. The EMP Blast is a cool idea, but I don't find it super useful, because the EMP Blast, as I said with the EMP Grenade, it stops bloats from vomiting, stops husks from sometimes blowing up, sometimes fire, depends on when you get them in the animation. Same with bloats too, for that matter. It's just easier to know when you're going to hit a bloat. He's not going to be able to vomit. Stops sirens from screaming. That's not a huge deal though. If you're that close to hit something, almost all of your weapons have such high stagger chance that you're going to knock the siren out of their scream. You can also stop flesh pounds and strikes from raging, although they can still easily hit you once you're at that range. You can, of course, parry and block that though. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of this weapon, in my opinion. It's got weird hitboxes. I don't think it's as good as some of these other weapons. I don't think it's as useful as like the pulverizer is. So I'm going to put it in high B tier. What do you guys think? Do you guys use this one a lot? Like it's not bad. It's not a bad weapon to choose. It sits at like a nice weight and everything, but I don't use it a whole ton. And I guess now would be a good time to say that we're also doing a charity stream today. This is for St. Jude's Children's Hospital. If you guys would like to donate, you can over on the Twitch channel. You can either type in !charity and get a link, go down to the panels and click there. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, you can go down to the description, and there is a link where you can go off and donate there. Any amount is accepted. Every amount is appreciated. Thanks everybody for donating. I really do appreciate that. I'm not sure where to place it. B tier. Yeah, I was thinking B tier. I don't know. I've heard some people really like this, and I think it's probably really good on lower difficulties where you can just bully Scrakes and Flesh Pounds by heavy attacking them constantly. But I don't find it super useful on the higher ones. Again, it's still not bad. I don't think any of Berserker's weapons are really bad, but all right, we'll put it in B tier now. See what the comments say when I make this video live and everything. Let's talk about the Eviscerator. We'll just go in order now. So the Eviscerator is really good in my opinion. It also has some range numbers for everything. So with its secondary attack, it does 29 damage per tick as you're going through. This also has a very high stagger chance to knock things back. It also has a 1.8 meter reach with that attack and its stab attack. Its stab attack does 90 damage, and then its primary attack is where it shoots the saw blade that does 300 damage. So it does a very high amount of damage with its blade. Its blade also can travel through, I believe, 4 enemies. It can bounce a total of 5 times, so it can travel through 4 enemies, bounce, come back through and hit potentially 4 more enemies, and then keep bouncing. You could potentially hit 20 enemies or the same enemy 5 times with it, depending on the area that you shoot. You can also pick up your saw blades after that. It does have somewhat of a slow rate of fire with its saw blade. And it has a 70% damage reduction on the parry and 60% damage reduction on the block. This is one of the best weapons to parry with. The Smash skill also sort of works with this perk, but not entirely. Smash gives you the bonus headshot damage, but that's it for its heavy attack, and for its light attack, actually. But that's about it. So you do get a pretty decent headshot machine with this thing. It does weigh 8, or it does weigh 9, which is a lot. And with its one upgrade, it gets 10% bonus damage at 1 additional weight. So it does have some drawbacks. You also have to pay for both saw blades and gas when you buy it, or when you want to refill it, which is a little bit of a downside, but not really. Let's see, S tier in my opinion. I was thinking kind of the same thing too. I'm definitely gonna put. So I'm going to put the Eviscerator in probably mid S tier. It does really well. It does well against everything. You can clear crowds with it. You can clear small stuff with it. You can kill medium stuff with it. You can kill big stuff with it. It allows you a safe option when fighting bosses, and it has a very high parry multiplier. So you take a considerably reduced damage from melee hits. It seems like whenever you block with this thing against like even King Flesh Pound's heavy hit, you take like 5 or 6 damage. Eviscerator is a must-have for new Berserker players to fight boss. Get fuel consumption on secondary attack is way too annoying to use it on non-boss waves. So A or S, or A or B. Oh, hey, Boomer. Welcome back. A or B. I could see that too. Um, yeah, it's you definitely only want to use its light attack for small things, especially when you're running. Heavy thing or saw blade's really good at hitting like flesh pounds, any of the bosses really hard. Especially if you can get them in certain areas where you can bounce the blade back through them multiple times. Um, I think I'm gonna put it. I think I'm still gonna keep it in S tier, but I do see why people would want to put it in probably high B or A tier ish. I could definitely see that. I understand the reasoning there, especially with its weight too. It does limit you on what you can take. Again, this thing is ridiculous though, and you can put it with anything. But yeah, it is also very good for new players too. So long as you know that you don't want to be using the secondary attack against big things. That's the main thing. Because I have seen new Berserker players take off running headfirst at like the Patriarch with this thing and just trying to saw him to death, and then just take a rocket right to the face, and that's the end of that. Also, you don't really need to upgrade this, so it does give you a couple more options for decent weapons. Like if you want to go full damage, you can go with those two, or anything like that. Nice channel. I'm going to watch some of your videos. See ya. All right. See ya, Boomer. Hope you enjoy the videos. All right. So next up is the Tesla launcher. Let's see. The Tesla launcher is a very weird gun. I was kind of excited to see that Berserker got another ranged weapon, though. And then they got this, which is kind of bizarre, but I sort of like it, too. So this does 68 damage on shot, but also does afterburn damage doing fire damage. But its regular shot damage is not fire, it counts as microwave damage. And microwave damage actually scales very well against things like strikes and flesh pounds. Anything with metal attached to them, it does bonus damage on. And then it does damage over time with the fire. Fire's kind of weird, and I'm not going to say exactly how much damage it does, because the equations are usually kind of long and weird. Its secondary fire shoots the EMP grenade, which can do impact damage when you hit something with it. It does 50 damage if you hit something directly with it, which counts as ballistic shell damage, which doesn't get reduced by anything, I don't believe. I think you actually do bonus damage towards strikes with it too. It's a little bit weird, but so you do 50 impact damage when you hit something with it, and 25 damage from the actual EMP, as well as putting the EMP effect on everything around you. So that's a lot, or at least a lot of words. And with its upgrade, it gets 12.5% stronger with 1 extra weight. It's also a weird number too, so it goes up to like 74-ish damage, which isn't bad. 74 damage, microwave gun, holding 30 shots with the EMP effect is kind of nice. It has situations where it's not bad. Oh, there was another donation. Let me check that really fast. Thank you for donating, everybody. I really do appreciate that, and the Cherry appreciates that a lot too. Let's see. This is a $20 donation from Anonymous. Well, thank you, Anonymous. We appreciate that here. All right. Oh, hello, Luca. I'm good. How are you? Let's see. The Tesla launcher is a weird gun. Like, I don't know where I'm going to put this thing. Because on one hand, it's really not that bad. It does give you a decent ranged option as Berserker, and it does give utility for the team. At the same time, though, you don't necessarily want to be running as ranged Berserker. It's not the best thing. Let's see. It's a great ranged weapon. Works best when paired with a melee weapon. Exactly. Yes. You don't want to be... I would recommend against taking it with probably anything like... well, you can't take it with the Eviscerator. You could take it with the... Frost Fang, though. Frost Fang's a pretty good option with it, because that's more close range. A nail gun's not the best option either. I don't know. I'm thinking also B tier-ish with this, maybe low A tier. What do you guys think? I'm really unsure. I don't... like, when I use this weapon, it doesn't feel bad, but it also doesn't feel amazing either. It's okay. This launcher is not a weird gun. It's just weird that a gun is for Berserker. Yeah, kind of. That is true. If this was for like Firebug or something that also uses microwave damage, yeah, I don't think it'd be that weird of a gun. It would actually probably be pretty decent on Firebug because you get the added EMP effect. Or if they had it shoot like Molotovs out, that'd be cool too. I mean, they kind of have that with the well, mixing the Helios rifle and the Fire M16. I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, that is true. Useless Chub. It is weird that Berserker has gun, not a hybrid like saw thrower or like a nail gun that's yeah, kind of there. I think I'm gonna put this. It's good for a good amount of situations. Is the thing though too. I'm going to put this in high B tier. It's like right in between A and B though, in my opinion. Like I could easily put it there on a different day. Be like, oh yeah, probably not S tier, but A or B tier, somewhere right there. So I'm gonna set it there for right now. All right, up next we've got the Bone Crusher. I always want to say this is Bone Basher or something, and that's not right. Bone Crusher. So the Bone Crusher does actually the most amount of bash damage out of any weapon, at least scaling wise. It does 80 damage with its light attack. It does 165 damage with its heavy attack, and it does 175 damage with its bash attack. Its range with the mace part of it has a 1.65 meter reach, and its shield has a 1.45. So the shield does have the least amount of reach. That makes kind of sense, though. Although the shield does do quite a lot of damage. And its heavy attack and bash attack are almost at the same speed. Now, this thing also has very good block and parry. This one has, I believe, the best block out of all the weapons and tied with the best parry. It has a 70% damage reduction with both block and parry. With its one upgrade, it gains 1 weight, and it gets 13.5% bonus damage. Which is, again, kind of a weird number. So it goes up to 9 if you want to fully upgrade it. That being said, it's still pretty good at 8 because of its high block cost reduction. And it's pretty good at parrying too. Its light attacks, it actually can make use of Massacre pretty well too, because it does have a fast light attack, and its light attack does decent damage. It also has pretty high stumble chance. One of my favorites, I'd say it's S, leaning towards lower S. The main problem I have with this weapon is I find it a little bit awkward to use against certain enemies. It is very good, and it's very good against, well, it's very good for new players to use too, especially people that want to learn how to parry, but also are afraid of taking hits, so they turtle up a lot. It is the best turtle up weapon. Put it in front of you, block everything, and it's very good at that. It can also block certain things that other weapons can't block. It can block hush shots. It can technically block the Patriarch's missile strike. I think both missiles, actually. I think you have to be looking at a weird angle, though, to block the one that comes straight down, but you can block the one that's straight on. That being said, you're still going to take a ton of damage from that, and it's not always the best. Let's see, Bone Crusher, which blocks almost anything, if not all damage. Surgeon SWAT Shield, which blocks way less damage even through... Yeah, that is true. Yeah, the manhole cover is greater than the actual riot shield as a shield. This thing also kind of obscures your screen a good amount, though, too. So it is a little bit hard to see at certain times, because looking through that little slit isn't the best. That can be kind of frustrating for new players. It can be kind of frustrating if you get pushed into a corner, too, where you're not really sure if it's safe to drop the guard and move on. That being said, it is still a really strong weapon. I think, personally, I'm going to put it in high A tier, pretty much on the same level as the Pulverizer. You could put it in S tier. I could see people doing that because it is very good at blocking. If you are a person that really likes to turtle up and be safe, then I'm definitely going to say this is probably S tier for you. It's also really good if you're going to go full tank berserker. If you have full tank berserker and then 1 or 2 medics on your team that's very committed to the full tank, you can pretty much just sit there and turtle up the whole game, and that will be your job. You know, beat away anything that's small, anything that's going to cause a little bit of issues, stop anything from getting to your backline, like your sharpshooter or demo or anything, and then just turtle up whenever a Scrake or a Flesh Pound shows up. That's not a bad option. And that situation's pretty good. If you want to be super active with Berserker, I think like something like the Pulverizer would be better if you want to constantly go after fights and take them. And that's a little bit better in my opinion. But still pretty strong. And with let's see, weight of 8? Yeah, weight of 8, you can pair it with the Frostfang and actually do pretty well too. Then you can use the Frostfang for anything that's further away. And if you freeze something, or if there's an opportunity where something gets frozen, like you have a freeze thrower or a cryo grenade, then you can just go up there and kill like Scrakes and Flesh Pounds very fast with it. And then switch back to the Bone Breaker to block a lot of stuff. So yeah, really good weapon. Alright, then we're going to move on to the final weapons, which are the tier 5 weapons. And that is the Ion Thruster and the Battle Axe. Let's talk about the Ion Thruster then. The Ion Thruster is also pretty good. It does 92 damage on its light attack, 152 damage on its heavy attack, 400 damage on its special attack, and 85 damage on its stab attack. It also has the longest reach out of any of the melee weapons at 2.4 meters in reach, except for its ultimate attack, which then doubles that, so it's 4.8 meters. So about 5 meters in front of you is where you can hit with this, which is actually pretty far. It's kind of surprising when you use the special and how many things you can actually hit with it. It's different. Now, to use its special attack, it has to be at 100%. You charge this up, and then you press the reload button, and you let it loose. Now, you get charges based on what you do. So primary attacks give you 1 charge, heavy attacks give you 3 charges, stabs give you 1 charge, blocks give you 1 charge, and parries give you 5 charges. So if you're good at parrying, you can build this thing up really fast. This thing also does damage over time, counting as fire damage, and it scales with your attack, which is kind of weird, and I'm not sure if it also seems to count for perks too. So its damage is actually a bit higher than what it seems like. It's also got pretty decent parry and block strength. It has a 40% damage reduction when parrying and a 50% damage reduction when blocking. That's okay. You know, it's not as crazy as the bat, but still pretty good. This thing is extremely fun to use. It is very pricey though too. It's 2,000, I believe 2,000 dash. Yeah, 2,000 dash to buy. That's pretty expensive. Oh hey everybody! Make the pew pew gun S tier. Pew pew gun. Which pew pew gun? This pew pew gun. Hey, Mr. S, lightsaber is S tier because of the charge attack. Lightsaber is S tier because it's lightsaber. Oh, Nightwolf, if you want to do the Discord, you have to be in Twitch. For whatever reason, it doesn't work on YouTube, I don't think. But yeah, it should work over there. Sorry about that. $10 to buy, everything expensive, but Tripwire, please nerf. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the special does a ridiculous amount of damage. Damage over time is always nice, especially for like a melee class. That's even nicer. Yeah, it probably does belong in S tier. I'm gonna say it's a little bit lower in S tier. I should probably move that one over here. Like the bat still is really good. Please upload the other tier list separately on YouTube. Oh yeah, I plan on making. Well, I'm going to do this, and I'm gonna do maybe 2 more or so today, but I'm going to cut them up into videos and make them much shorter. What's the plan for today? Plan for today is to make some Killing Floor 2 tier lists. I felt like it'd be fun to do that today, and to get viewers' input on different weapons. I'm still gonna definitely make this in my own opinion, but it's kind of nice for certain weapons, like different weapons I don't use a whole ton. And yeah, we're gonna do that today, and then I'm gonna cut them up into individual videos. Okay, not gaming, surprised. Yeah, I figured it'd be fun to try this today. Any gun that goes pew equals S tier if if it can kill. Sort of, I guess. But then Berserker, you're not really using guns, well, except for that gun. That gun's pretty good. Alright, so how much does the thruster weigh? 8? That's not bad. You can still pair it with quite a few other weapons at 8. So you do have quite a few options there. Ion thruster is quite good. Something. Oh, thank you for the follow, Nightwolf. I appreciate that. Let's see. Now, the Battle Axe. Battle Axe is available to everybody. So the Battle Axe does a ridiculous amount of damage. It has 120 damage on its light attack, 250 damage on its heavy attack, and 101 damage on its stab attack, which is a little bit strange. Its stab attack is actually decently fast too. It's kind of surprising. And this has a 1.9 meter effective reach. It also has a 40% damage reduction when parrying and a 50% damage reduction when blocking, which is not bad. This has a huge amount of knockback potential too. Like stagger chance on things, it's very strong. Like it's a really, really powerful weapon, but it always feels kind of clunky to me. I don't find it as useful, at least for doing heavy damage, as like the pulverizer is, or even the ion thruster or the medic bat. But it's still not bad. I also like that it has the dismemberment animation, which is really cool. Twitch not working either. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to try to fix that. I've been trying to put Discord on there so people can join. I messed that up when I was putting everything together. Let's see. Let's see. About a perks tier list? Yeah, we can do a perks tier list later, Razel. Zweihander and Nailgun need to be S. Zweihander and Nailgun are fun, but I don't know if they're S material. Let's see. Battle Axe is totally S. It may be slow, but damage is demolishing, adding with satisfying corpse explosion. Its damage is pretty devastating. It does that at 10 weight. That kind of sucks because you do have a reduction in what you can use. That being said, the medic bag still does exist, so weight isn't the most important thing. Let's see. I don't know any of these guns. All I know is guns equal damage. Can you do a tier list that is guns that can pew the most or that can shoot the most? Yeah. Well, then the minigun and the Vector, the Chris would be the highest. Well, also the dual Glock 18s, because they all have 1,200 rounds a minute rate of fire, which is kind of ridiculous sometimes. I don't know. I kind of want to put Battle Axe in A tier, somewhere here. Maybe right there. I don't know. The weight is just kind of the issue, because it's like if I go with Battle Axe, I do get some options. I can go with obviously Medic Bat, which would be your best option. But then if I want any of these other weapons for whatever reason, if I want to hit harder or something, I could go with Nailgun too. That wouldn't be a terrible option. Katana and Road Redeemer, there's no reason to take that with the Battle Axe. But it does somewhat limit what I can use, which is a little bit annoying to me because I like to mix and match. But say Welder is best and do the dab. Yes, Welder S tier, definitely best weapon in game. Does a massive, how much? Let me look this up really fast. How much damage does the Welder actually do? Will it actually show me? I think it does like 50-ish damage. I don't care about anybody starting equipment. I want to see the welder. Yes, welder and healing syringe, best weapons in game. Better than everything else. It only takes you 6 hours to beat anything with. Oh, wait, here it is. Okay. Let's see, welder. Welder does... It doesn't even tell me how much damage it does. Welder does infinite damage because of damage, yes. I don't know. It only tells me like how much ammo it has, how much it consumes per use. It actually has a rate of fire on the welder, which is kind of interesting at 300 rounds a minute. Don't know how that equates, but yeah, I think I'm gonna put Battle Axe at 8 here. So quick, I guess we'll go through them quickly again for anybody who didn't catch the start of the stream. Don't use the knife on Berserker. Berserker uses the knife best out of most classes, but don't use the knife on Berserker. All of your other melee weapons are better. Pistol's nice for taking out bloats and husks early on. Grovel, not bad, but doesn't scale particularly well. Katana, similar. It does a lot of light damage pretty well, but doesn't scale particularly great. The bat is the same as the katana in terms of stats and everything. Let's see what else. Axe does a lot of damage, but is kind of sluggish. Nail gun, pretty decent as a ranged weapon, actually. Good amount of burst damage. EMP grenade, nice utility. Strikers, I don't use a whole ton, but don't find them super impressive. They're not bad by any means, though. Will you upload any gameplay in the future? Challenges, multiplayer, etc. Probably. I plan on it. Killing Floor has just been kind of in a weird spot lately with its updates and everything. It's made recording difficult. I've tried it a couple times. With the latest beta, it was crashing a lot. So I just kind of pushed it aside for the moment, was doing other stuff. But I will probably get back into it sometime soon and do some stuff with it. I've been really enjoying these tier lists, and people seem to be enjoying them too. They're very fun to make and very fun to talk about. Still owe me a decent welder only with a steering wheel. Yeah, that's true. Also, did you hear that Tripwire is at least thinking about a new Killing Floor? Yes, I did. I had seen that from Pathfinder, saying that Killing Floor 3 was more than likely going to be released, which is cool. Because I really enjoy Killing Floor 2, but I haven't enjoyed the most support that they've given it. I've liked the community a lot. The community's been really good at it, especially with all of their updates to it themselves, including new weapons, including new skins, including new maps, new everything in it. I think that's really awesome. But I would like some official support and more big steps going forward with it. So I think Killing Floor 3 would be great to start. I would definitely play it. I want to see what they do and how they increase it. Anyway, back to this. This gun, pretty decent gun. Zweihander, good if you don't upgrade it. Battle Axe, devastating. Pulverizer, devastating. The Brain Basher here, very good at blocking. Ion Thruster, ridiculous high damage. Eviscerator, really good at fighting everything. Crossfang, really good at fighting everything. And Medic Bat is just stupidly strong. So, alright, I think that's my Berserker tier list. I'll be making this into a actual video. It'll have a lot more edits and cut downs in it so that you can get everything. Medic Bag. Medic Bag. Oh yes, Medic Bag. Hit them with the Medic Bag. Hit everything with the Medic Bag. Your friends, your enemies, anything. You're fine. Just hit them with that. Alright, so I think I'm going to do another tier list. Let's see. I guess we can go down the line unless somebody wants to see a specific class for me to talk about. I'm not going to talk about Sharpshooter, though, this time, or Survivalist, definitely, because I haven't used Sharpshooter's compound bow, so I don't really know where I would put it. I still have to try that out more. And I'm not going to pick survivals because survivals is going to be a giant video that I kind of want to save to make and like an actual video out of. But everything else, then yeah. By the way, about Killing Floor, is there any way to play Killing Floor Calamity now? Maybe anybody knows because my PC committed suicide before I went to Army. Oh, I don't know. UPK. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, you might be able to find official support that way, or good support that way, I should say. So we'll do support next, which means I have to build a new tier list and save all of these images. Make that. So I'm going to be doing that for a second. Then we can talk about support. And I think I'll talk about even like the buckshot and the dual wielding buckshots separately. Just to sort of, I have nail gun, which I already have as a saved image. I don't think no, I don't have the dragon's breath though. So thanks everybody for coming to the stream today. I really do appreciate that. Hope you guys are having a good day. You guys are enjoying this. Figured we'd do something a little bit different today. So yeah, we're just gonna keep doing this for today and see how it goes. Today we are raising money for St. Jude Children's Hospital though. If you would like to donate, you can. Any amount is accepted. All of it is very much appreciated. If you'd like to donate, you can donate down below in the description. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, if you're on Twitch, then you can type in !charity into the chat and you'll get a link there. Or you can go to the panel down below and click on that. Hopefully I get all the weapons this time. When I did the commando list, I got most of the way through it and then realized I didn't have the FAL on there. I was like, oh, that's kind of an important gun for commando. Should probably talk about that one. You got them all. Start another tab over here. Give me a couple minutes and I will set this tier list up. We can talk about the other weapons. Also, for some reason, if anybody goes to these tier lists, sometimes it takes off whatever I put in D tier. Just put some. I don't know why that is. If anybody also wants to use these lists, just keep that in mind. And if there's things set off to the side, then they probably went into D tier. But yeah, I think I might be missing. Oh, then we can always add it later. I think we're good to go now. So let me drag this one over here. All right, support weapons. Let's see. Are you going to play more Left 4 Dead 2 Workshop campaign? Yes, we plan on doing that sometime soon. We actually have a lot of things going on right now, especially for the holidays. Both me and my brothers, who usually record that, have had a lot of things going on. and we're still trying to get a lot of Christmas stuff done for everybody. So things might be a little bit slower for the next couple weeks, but after that, definitely we want to get back into more Left 4 Dead 2 maps. And you've actually seen that I've been talking to the creator of the Resident Evil ones, and that's why we haven't done Resident Evil 2. Yeah, Resident Evil 2 Left 4 Dead map, because when I put out 3 and we had actually finished 1 the day before, he had messaged me saying, oh, hang on before you play 1 and 2, because he wanted to update different things about it. And I said, well, we've already done 1, so we can wait for 2 though. So I've been waiting for that too. But yes, we do want to get back into playing that as well. Yeah, I kind of was thinking about playing Killing Floor 2 only with weapons, which Killing Floor 1, just to see how good they are compared, but rip. Yeah, I mean, you can do that. There's some good ones there still. All right, so I think I have the support weapons set up, but I could have missed 1 or 2. I'm gonna pull up my cheat sheet as well, make sure I didn't miss any. Closed it, but and tell you guys the actual numbers. So let's see. Let's start out with our basic weapons like we usually do. All right, I'm gonna head out. Catch you later. Have a good day, everybody. All right, well, thank you, Shinobi God. I appreciate that. Also, don't forget those winter campaign themes. Yes, the winter ones have been fun. I think we've played 1, but I haven't edited it or anything. We've been playing some stuff. I've had a good amount of stuff on the kind of back burner I got to get to, as well as some other things that I would like to get to as well. So, yes, there's a lot of stuff coming. Just can't guarantee when. So anyway, starting with our starting equipment, let's go with the machete. Machete's kind of a cool weapon, but you're never going to use it unless you run out of ammo, because support gets no use for it. So into D tier it goes. Knives generally go there unless you have some sort of support for them, and support doesn't. .9mm pistol. Machete kills, so S tier. It's a knife. It's not supposed to be good. Yeah, that's true. That is true. I mean, it's free. I still wanted to include them here, and I'll probably do like a whole knife tier list, maybe just based on how much I like the look of them. I think that would be more fair than actually saying how good they are. Using it to useful for repairing big Zeds. Yes, that is true. It's especially good if you get like King Fleshbound and he decides to target you. Pull out your knife, block it, head off and heal, or get your medic to heal you, and then keep hammering away at him. But that's about the only real use. Or against other Fleshbounds or Strikes if you're running and need to block. So put that there. 9mm pistol. Once again, you're not going to use it unless you're out of ammo, but it's okay. So let's talk about the frag grenade. Frag grenade does a lot of damage. I think it actually can do the most amount of damage out of any of the grenades, technically, but not really practically. It does the explosion damage, and then it does shrapnel damage outward, dealing damage to everything. So if you hit potentially all the shrapnel on one target, I think you can, but I don't know if that's really possible unless it goes off directly on them. Then it might count as doing that, but it's not bad for clearing up small Zeds. It does have a large explosion radius, and it does have a high chance of hitting yourself with it, though. It is probably the grenade I've seen more people blow themselves up with than maybe any other. I don't want to say that, though, because I have seen quite a few demos blow themselves up with dynamite, and a decent amount of commandos blow themselves up with their grenades. So it's high up there on grenades that you could blow yourself up with. But overall, it's not bad for just clearing stuff. So B tier for a grenade. It's okay. All right, and then the pump shotgun. Pump shotgun's actually probably one of the best starting weapons, at least for dealing high damage, because you can kill pretty much anything with it with one shot, besides like bloats or something. It does 20 damage, shooting out 7 pellets, and its upgrades are pretty good. Once it's fully upgraded, it actually does double damage. It goes up to a weight of 9, so it has a total of 280 damage per shot, which is not bad. 9 weight still a decent amount, but then weight isn't as important with support either because you get a lot. Let's see, the best starting weapon is Winchester, second best is shotgun. Yeah, definitely. Or Medic 101, depending on how you look at it. Yeah, yeah. Winchester's the most consistent, at least at high damage for starting weapons. Shotgun's probably the second most, and then the Medic pistol is the best utility. So yeah, I would definitely agree with that. So it's not bad. Every shotgun is amazing. So S tier. Well, I want to try to compare them to one another. If I'm comparing them to all weapons, then yeah, shotguns generally are superior to a lot of weapons, especially in this game, because I like the way that they've done shotguns in this game, where you do have very long range, and with the added penetrative power of support, you actually can clear up things very quickly with it. That being said, it is probably the least useful shotgun out of all the shotguns. It is still a shotgun though, which automatically makes it not useless. So I think C tier. I think C tier for this one. I think it's okay. Especially with upgrades, it scales well too. It's not bad. But I also don't want to make a list that's just like, oh yeah, this gun's so great overall. And just this class overall is so great that everything's going to be in B, A, or S tier. So we're going to try to, match things as to where they kind of need to go, at least in my opinion. And anybody else is more than free to have their opinion. Completely disagree with me, any of these. So, yeah, that's the thing. It's like whenever you say another thing with the shotguns is like whenever you say like, oh, this shotgun has low damage, it has low damage for a shotgun. It doesn't have low damage compared to other weapons. It has low damage compared to a shotgun. And that's kind of a big difference right there. It's like, oh, this gun only does 280 damage a shot. Okay, well, that's better than every assault rifle, every submachine gun, and most pistols, or I think it's actually all pistols too, in terms of one shot. Doesn't necessarily mean it's better than all those guns, but it's not weak. So let's see, tier 2, and I'm going to include just the single buckshot in tier 2. I think double buckshot are actually worse than single buckshot. Oh, okay, yeah, these ones. I was like, okay, I got confused there for a second, but yes, I actually agree with that, Useless Chub. I think the one buckshot is better than the two, because one buckshot only costs $550, I believe. Yeah, it's $550 to buy it. Holds 5 shots. It only weighs 2, which is really good. That actually fits into a lot of things. It does 32 damage a pellet, and it fires 5 pellets. So it doesn't have the highest amount of damage per shot, doing 160. Its spread is also not the best either. It's not bad anymore since they've buffed it, but it used to have really bad spread and pretty high recoil. I like that they've toned that down a bit. Its upgrades, it gets 15% more damage or 30% more damage, which is okay. Buckshot is nice early game economy weapon. Exactly, yes. That is very true. And for early game, it's actually really good. It is a very good price to performance weapon. So in like the early rounds, I'd probably say this thing is like A or B tier, at least for those very early rounds. As you keep it, it does fall off quite a bit, so I'm still going to put it in C tier with the other pump shotgun. Because, like I said, it doesn't particularly scale well, it doesn't particularly ramp up very well, but it is nice getting you through that early to mid game. It's pretty nice. Buckshot is actually either high B or A tier. I would definitely agree early on. Later on, not as much. Maybe I should put it in B tier then. Because it kind of fits into this where it's like, you definitely feel it, ramping down as the game goes on. But at the start, it's pretty strong. And then it's like, it's okay. And then it's like, all right, have it. So, all right, I'll put it in B tier. That makes sense. just because it's almost no weight and provides additional firepower if you run out of ammo. Yep, that is true. It's not a bad secondary to have, just one of these things sitting around. Pretty decent. Oh yeah, if you run out of ammo with your... Yep. Definitely. Yeah, one of them definitely better than two, though, in my opinion. And in most people's opinion, it seems like... Because two is super fun. Two is one of the funnier weapons that I enjoy playing, but it's not good. It's fun. And I kind of want to do a tier list on that too, of just my opinion on how fun a weapon is. Because I think that one would be, well, it'd be a lot of fun to make, and it's extremely subjective. Anybody can say anything is super fun for them. And I would want to see what other people think is super fun. All right, let's talk about the Dragon's Breath. Dragon's Breath shoots out 6 pellets that do 35 damage a piece, as well as fire damage, which is damage over time, and they can spawn floor fires, which cause also damage over time. It also upgrades decently well, because it upgrades at 10% increments, so it upgrades to 30% more damage, which is nice because it actually has high base damage and a low amount of pellets, so that's pretty good. It holds 6. It loads a little bit slow, and you don't have the biggest magazine. That's not too bad with support, because either you're going to go with the bigger magazine or the faster reloads, both of which kind of help, and it goes up to a max of 8 weight, which is fine. Dragon's fart. This weapon also is very good at racking up assists, so you can actually score a lot of money with this thing for not doing a whole lot with it, even if you're not dealing a lot of damage with it. I enjoy this weapon. It's much better on Firebug than it is on support, though. It's not as good for them. It's not bad, though. Fire damage can help with certain enemies. It can help you kill bloats, although you can arguably, decapitate bloats pretty easy with all the other shotguns, too. It can cause sirens to kind of freak out, which is nice for certain parts of your team. Dragon's Breath is fun, but just lacking in comparison to other shotguns in support arsenal. Firebug is definitely better. Definitely, yep. Yeah, that's kind of the way I feel. It's like small magazine size kind of sucks. Slow reload kind of sucks. Decent damage, decent scaling isn't bad. Fire damage is kind of nice. Assists are always nice. But yeah, it does still lack. I think I'm going to put this in C tier as well. I think a little bit higher than the regular pump shotgun. I feel like it has a little bit more utility than that, but I should actually probably put that one at the bottom. Put that at the bottom of C tier just for them. Yeah, C tier, maybe B tier if you're not super confident. You just want assists to build up to another weapon. It's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. There's a lot of weapons that are like that in this game where it's just, they're not terrible. They're okay. All right, the HZ-12. This is another one of those weird guns. At least for me, it's weird. Like statistically, looking on paper, this thing's actually really good. Like a 16-round magazine that for a shotgun that does say it shoots 10 pellets to do 20 damage. So you're doing 200 damage if you connect with all pellets. It's got a pretty high rate of fire, although the rate of fire is kind of deceptive because you do have to factor in that pump each time. Well, every 2 shots, you pump it. That's what makes it weird. It also has a decent amount of recoil if you're firing it quickly. Its upgrades actually aren't bad either, though. Scale's the same as the Dragon's Breath. 10% each level. For max of 3 weight at 8. That's fine. I don't know. This gun's not bad at anything. It's actually really... HZ-12 is actually really good. It's just overshadowed by the double barrel. Yeah. I agree with that 100%. Good for showing how it's like a dragon's fart. Let's see. Yeah, the HZ-12 is actually quite good. It's also one of the few guns that makes really good use of the I can't remember what that perk is called either. The one that gives you 50% bonus increase in magazine size. Be really fast to make sure I'm remembering that correctly. Yeah, the high capacity magazines. Because then this gun, it benefits from the tactical reload of reloading faster, but it benefits much more from the high capacity because then you're holding 24 rounds, which is pretty crazy. That's a lot of bullets for this thing. It's just that usually you go tactical reload because high capacity magazines doesn't work with all the other shotguns. This is one of the shotguns that it works very well with, though. But S tier by me just for satisfying shooting sound. Yeah, the boom 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 boom. It's the same thing with like the Dragon's Breath, or not the Dragon's Breath, the Doom Stick for me. Like I just love the sound that it makes. I don't know if I'm gonna rate that as S tier. A12, HZ12, and Medic Shotgun benefit from the high capacity magazines. Yes, they do. They benefit the most from it since they already have a fast reload and you reload all the shots. They are the guns that benefit from that the most. So I'm going to put the HZ12 actually in high B tier. I think it's really good. It's just, yeah, it does kind of get overshadowed by the double barrel. And it is still, it's very odd to get used to is the thing. At least for me. It feels kind of weird. That's not necessarily a bad thing because it does feel unique and different, which I like. I don't want all the guns feeling exactly the same. But yeah, I think high B tier is where it goes in comparison to the other demo weapons. It's pretty good. All right, tier 3 weapons. Oh wait, no, we have the double barrel. That's right, the double barrel. So double barrel is pretty ridiculous. Double barrel shoots out, I believe it's 10 pellets. Pretty sure. Shoots out 10 pellets that do 25 damage, so you're doing 250 damage if you connect with all of them. Or you can fire up both barrels at the same time and do 500 damage to something right away. And it also gives you bonus mobility because you can jump in the air, fire both barrels, and fly backwards, which is actually really nice. Its scaling is not the best, although it does already have high damage, so its scaling I don't think could be much higher, otherwise it would be really ridiculous. It gets 5% bonus damage each time you upgrade it up to a weight of 8. This is another weapon that you don't really need to upgrade. It's pretty strong without upgrades. And it's pretty good. I enjoy it quite a bit. I don't know if it's S tier though. It fits well with a lot of things. Oh, I forgot to put the medic shotgun here. I knew I was forgetting something. I'll put that one on as soon as we get to tier 3. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should it be high A tier or low S tier? Double barrel and doomstick both are S tier probably just because purely of damage. Yeah, damage and mobility is nice. Yeah, the jumping ability. Yeah. The jumping ability is surprisingly good, especially with classes that don't have any bonus mobility. It does give you a lot of I have like this is going to be a little bit of a spoiler, but when we go to the demo list, the demo double barrel is definitely getting S tier. That thing is stupidly ridiculous. I guess I'll put the double barrel in S tier. Low S tier. It does have some drawbacks, like its spread is not the best. With tight choke, that is remedied a bit, and then it's not bad. It does have ridiculous damage, and the mobility is really good too. The weight is also nice for a lot of other classes as well. Like I said, weight isn't a huge issue with support since you get the bonus weight. It's not as big with them as it is with other classes. So, alright, low S tier. Now let's see. I need to edit this thing and put the medic shotgun on here because I forgot about that guy. How could I do that? This over here. There you are. I think that's the only gun I'm forgetting. Okay. Nope, I forgot the nail gun too. What the heck? I forgot the nail gun and the blunderbuss. Whoops. That's right. I forget about the blunderbuss. It's a fun weapon. I just don't use it a whole ton. Mostly because I don't own it, but how did I do that? I forgot 3 weapons for this thing. One of them is a tier 2 weapon, so I gotta talk about the nail gun too. The Here's the nail. There it is. Talk about its stats. All right. Add some more files to this. One moment. All right, there we go. Now we've actually got all the support weapons here. Won't be forgetting any more. Hopefully. All right, so the other tier 2 weapon is the nail gun. And I said on Berserker, I think it's better on support, which I do. This one's another weapon that can actually benefit from the high capacity magazines pretty well. It's also one of the most cost effective weapons in the game, shot for shot. It is the first access to a semi-auto shotgun that you get, which is kind of nice. And it does have pretty high burst fire damage. Because the nail gun does 35 damage a shot at 7 pellets, doing 245 damage. That's actually quite a bit of damage. And it does have the ricochet ability, although this does travel slower and things can jump out of the way of it, like I said when we were talking about Berserker weapons. This gun also scales pretty well. It does up to almost 50 damage a shot, doing a total of about 343 damage in total, and weighing 8. That's not bad either. This gun actually on paper is not bad. It still doesn't feel as useful as like the double barrel, although I put double barrel in S tier, so don't know how much that is saying. But for price to performance, it's quite good. Ricochet is a little bit nice. The ability to shoot it single shot, and if you're a real big fan of the high capacity magazines, then this will probably be the first shotgun you take, unless you're taking the HZ12. It's pretty good overall. It's good for burst damage. It's not the best for sustained damage though, because you can run yourself out pretty fast, and it doesn't have the fastest reload. So nail gun, I think we're gonna put nail gun also pretty much at the same spot as the HZ12. They both do similar things, but not exactly. The HZ12 is better for sustained damage, and small incremental bursts of damage, whereas the nail gun's better for burst damage and for cost effectiveness. So I think they're about on the same level, in my opinion. Oh, whoop, yep. Since I went out of the list, it threw Machete back down here. Get back down to D tier, Machete. That's where you belong. All right. Let's see, what's the next weapon we're going to be talking about? So, tier 3 weapons. Let's talk about the dual shotguns. Dual buckshots. Now, the dual buckshots are the same as the regular buckshot, but you get 2 of them. And they weigh twice as much. Every time you upgrade them, they cost, well, they double in weight. Well, I guess not double in weight, but you get twice as much weight every time you upgrade them compared to the other one. So they're still not particularly that strong. They now have kind of, not necessarily worse spread, but I guess more noticeable spread since you're holding both of them out. They don't do a whole lot of great stuff, really. They are super fun. I will say that. They are incredibly fun weapons to use. Probably C tier just because I can feel my character's arms breaking by shooting them. Yeah, they're... I don't know. I mean, like, compared to the other weapons, I don't think they're as good. They're not as good as just, like, the single shotgun. They're just kind of weak. That being said, they're still a shotgun, so they're not that weak, but they feel weak. They weigh a lot once you upgrade them. They're not that great once you upgrade them. Yeah, they're probably bottom of C tier. I'm not sure if I'd put them into D tier, where they have such a bad thing. I might. I don't know. They're either like low end of C tier or high end of D tier. One of the two, because it's just, they don't do all that much. They are super fun though, but super fun doesn't really mean super practical either. So, all right, let's see, what do we got next? Go with the M4 shotgun. So the M4 shotgun, I really like this shotgun. It's pretty good. It does a high amount of damage. It has pretty good spread. You do need to reload it for each shot, which is a little bit annoying. It does have pretty good scaling too, if I'm not mistaken. It does 30 damage per pellet at 8 pellets, which is quite a lot. That's 240 damage, which is good. It has a high rate of fire for a shotgun, and its upgrades give it 10% bonus damage for each one, which is okay. I actually thought it was a little bit higher than that, but it's all right. There was a point in time where this weapon was considered probably the worst weapon for support, but it's not anymore. Since they buffed it and gave it the upgrade system, it's actually not bad, because it used to be more weight, higher price, and it was weaker than the nail gun in every way. That was pretty sad when that was a thing. When it's your tier 2 off-perk weapon for Berserker that's supposed to be like a cost-effective weapon is doing more, it's just all around better than your tier 3 weapon. You can make yourself a sandwich with machete. That is true. You can do that with the same double buckshot. Now your bread will be all messed up, so machete is better than the HRG buckshots. That's a good point. You can't do much with them compared to the machete. Can't make yourself a sandwich. Can't stab a guy. You shoot him. Might not kill him, but you can shoot him. I mean, might not kill him with the machete though either, but whatever. All right. The M4 is actually really good right now. I'm going to put it in A tier. I think it's a pretty solid weapon overall. It's not S tier, I would say, because it has the tube magazine. Takes a decent amount of time to reload. Other than that, though, it's pretty solid all around for a shotgun. Can't really go wrong with it. Let's eat it. Oh, I forgot its weight. Its weight is 6, so it goes up to 8. Fine for support. Not a bad weapon overall. All right, next one is the Frostfang. And where the Frostfang was ridiculous for Berserker, I don't think it's as ridiculous for support, but it's still pretty good. Like, having a melee weapon on your ranged weapon is really strong. Being able to block is great. M4 is good, and just for me, it is better than the AA-12. In certain situations, it is. It does do more damage. I think it can do more damage faster than the AA-12. The AA-12 just has much more sustained fire damage. So for situations where a Scrake or a Fleshpound is charging you, you can potentially kill them faster and keep yourself safe with the M4 over the AA-12, I believe. Both are good options, though. But yeah, let's talk about the Frostbang. Melee isn't super useful on support, but blocking is. And doing, was it 30 damage? I think it's 30 damage a shot at 7 pellets is okay. Being able to freeze things gives status effects, which is really nice. I don't think this is quite S tier for support, but I do think it's A tier. I think it's pretty good. Yeah, it's overall a pretty nice weapon to use on them. It gives you a lot more defensive options, and it gives you utility for the team, and it's not bad overall. And it's not bad at scaling either. What does it scale to? It has 7 weight, goes up to 9 weight when it's fully upgraded, with 20% increase for the shotgun, or 25% increase with the shotgun, 20% increase with the melee. And, you know, freezing things and then meleeing them, kind of nice to not use up your ammo. So I think A tier is where it belongs. It's pretty good. All right, and then our last one, because I don't think that, pretty sure the blunderbuss is not tier 3. I'm pretty sure it's tier 4. Yes, it is. Okay. So the last tier 3 weapon we got here is the medic shotgun. And medic shotgun is really nice. I really enjoy this thing. I gave it A tier with the medic. Some people said they'd give it S tier with medic, which I also agree with in some ways. Shoots out 6 pellets that do 25 damage, so it has lower damage for a tier 3 weapon, but most medic weapons do. It has a really high rate of fire. It actually doesn't have that much. It has a very nice spread. You don't need choke with this gun to shoot things at far range with it. Or you don't need the tight choke perk to shoot things at long range with it. It reloads very fast. It's one of the weapons that uses the high capacity magazines very well. Only weighs 6, which is pretty nice too. And it scales decently well too, because it scales by 15% increments. And then each time you upgrade it, just like every other medic weapon, it drops in recharge rate so that you can use your healing darts faster. You can also use the healing darts to poison Zeds, but that's not really a practical use of them. It's something you can kind of do, and sometimes helps you out, but usually doesn't. This gun is just really good in pretty much everything, and it fits with almost every other shotgun. It actually kind of fits with every shotgun is the thing. I don't know if this is... Medic shotgun is an S tier in multiplayer and an A tier in solo, probably. Yeah, I could see that. It is... Yeah, I'm probably gonna... I was gonna say, maybe this is either real high A tier or lower S tier, but yeah, I think it's probably S tier. It's just, with the extra weight that you can carry, you're pretty much gonna be carrying around... either the medic shotgun and fully upgrading it in whatever your other shotgun is, or you're going to be carrying around 3 shotguns and you won't have to worry about ammo. Plus, you have the ability to heal allies, which is so strong. Also, for what was this thing only like 1,100? Yeah, 1,100. That's not bad. You're probably going to actually end up making probably half your money back just from healing people with this thing. But yeah, in solo, medic weapons aren't as strong, but medic shotgun is still pretty strong. It's another one of those weapons where it's like, it's weak compared to the other shotguns. It's strong compared to everything else. It's strong compared to most other weapons, I should say. Oh, hey, Bryson. Hi, Ronald. Happy birthday, or happy late birthday. Well, thank you, Bryson. I appreciate that. So... yeah, medic shotgun probably low S tier. It's so good. It's never a bad option is the thing. Like, you're never upset to see a medic shotgun on there. Hope you liked your gifts. Yeah, I did. I appreciated everybody sending me gifts on my birthday, and everybody saying happy birthday to me on all the social medias, because I didn't publicize it or anything. People just found out that it was my birthday yesterday, so... And I kind of wanted just to be lazy and not do a stream or do a video or anything. So that's why there wasn't a video up yesterday too. And why there might not be one up today, because I didn't edit or anything yesterday. So I do appreciate that from everyone. Let's see. Now we only got the tier 4 weapons to talk about. So we've got the AA-12, the Doomstick, and the Blunderbuss. Let's talk about the Blunderbuss first, because this one is a very different one. This one's a cross-perk weapon with the demo, and it does a cannonball shot as its main fire damage, or as its primary attack, which does 300 impact damage, 250 explosion damage. This can blow up on you, though, because there is no safe radius with it, so you can very easily hurt yourself with this. And it's the primary fire for support isn't way useful. It's kind of nice just to do explosive damage and clear a small group of Zeds. That's not bad. But mostly it's secondary fire, which fires the shrapnel. Now, shrapnel can bounce twice. It does 50 damage per one, and it shoots out 10 of these. So you're doing up to 500 potential damage on shooting this. That's pretty crazy. That's a lot of damage. Now, that being said, you only do get 3 rounds with this. You can use the high capacity magazines to get 5, I believe, which is okay. I still think quick reloading is a little bit better with this one. It's a very fun weapon to use, and on paper it sounds absolutely ridiculous, like 500 damage a shot, and you get 3 shots, you can do 1,500 damage to a single enemy. That sounds really crazy good, but in practice, it's not as useful. It's okay. Um, what officer are you ranking? What do you mean by that, Bryson? I'm ranking the Killing Floor 2 weapons today. This one is for support. So the one that uses shotguns. At least right now. We did Berserker. I made it list like that. These will all be videos though too. So if anybody misses a stream, don't worry about it. They'll be made into videos. If I remember correctly, Blunderbuss can one-shot Scrakes and maybe even flesh pounds while being fully upgraded with a headshot in solo though. Probably. I wouldn't doubt that at all. Its upgrade is actually 50% damage, so it actually has one of the higher scalings for its upgrade. And it is very ridiculous shot for shot. That being said, it's not the most useful for every situation. It is situational. It is super fun to use, though. I'm also going to probably put this one in A tier. Like, super fun to use, super strong. Not always the best for everything, but I love to use it. It was super fun. All right, let's talk about the AA-12, and I'm probably going to put AA-12 into S tier. It's pretty good for just the high amount of sustained damage you can fire. So the AA-12 does actually the same damage as the starting pump shotgun. Shoots out 7 pellets that do 20 damage, so 140 damage. With one upgrade, it gets 15% more damage. That's nice. It has very little spread. It's one of the few shotguns you can use without tight choke and fire it at very long range effectively. It holds about 20 rounds or 30 rounds if you're going with the high capacity magazines. And it's always a good option for just about anything. It does weigh a lot. It weighs 10 and then 11 with the weight. That's not too bad with support as well. It is on the heavier side. It does limit you a little bit, but not that much. I think I'm going to put the AA-12 in lower S tier. Like, the amount of sustained damage you can do is pretty crazy with it. I enjoy it. AA-12 is just like HZ. It's just overshadowed in most cases by a booming stick. In just most cases that has 4 barrels, but still an awesome gun. Yeah, I agree. That's the thing though. It's like AA-12 is definitely S tier. Yeah, I don't really hate any of the shotguns that you use. Maybe this one. I don't like this one. Well, I hate it in terms of how useful it is, but I don't hate it in terms of how fun it is. It's just like the AA-12 is just never a bad option is the thing. And for that, I think it deserves S tier. It's a similar thinking of the medic shotgun for me. Where it's like there's no situation where you're gonna be bummed out that you have a medic shotgun. Like maybe if you ran out your AA-12, your boomstick, and then you're on your medic shotgun and you're like, oh, I kind of wish I had ammo for the other two. Maybe. Yeah, and then we got the Doomstick. The Doomstick is ridiculous in damage. This thing's probably one of the highest damaging weapons in the whole game. Well, not even probably, it is. But it has a magazine of 4. It doesn't hold the most spare shots. Originally, when this gun came out and I used it, I said this thing was overpowered, and I completely meant that when it came out, because this thing had, I think, over double the amount of ammo that it could hold now. Now it doesn't hold that many shots. It used to be able to hold like 120 spare rounds, so you didn't need to use anything but it for everything. Now you can't do that as much. Now it's more for hitting something really hard, really fast, because it does 40 damage a pellet, shooting 6 pellets. That's pretty strong already, but then also this gun can upgrade and get another 15% more damage, which is really strong. And you can fire out all 4 barrels at once, which is 24 pellets, which that is an insane amount of damage. That is a crazy amount of damage that you can do with this gun. Especially on Scrakes, flesh pounds. Also, even if you don't kill something, it's almost guaranteed to knock it back to where it can't attack you immediately. So you can usually endlessly stun with this gun. That's really strong. It does weigh a lot. It weighs 10, just like the AA-12, and then with one weight it goes up to 11. So you can't have a fully upgraded Doomstick and a fully upgraded AA-12, but you can take both of them individually if you would like. I don't usually recommend that, but it's an option. So yeah, I think this belongs right next to the AA-12 in most situations. It's a different alternative to the AA-12. It does ridiculous amounts. I've liked the other thing that was funny is at one point the double barrel was also outperforming the Doomstick once they nerfed it as much as they did. So they buffed it back up. So now it's actually pretty good. Like it was never bad. It was always like at least sitting at A tier. But I think now it's pretty much S tier. Such a cool gun. And I just love it to death. I think that's where I want to put everything for support. I think that seems pretty good. Machete, not useful. Dual shotgun pistols, not the best. Pistol, you'll use it if you need to. Pump shotgun, not terrible. Pretty strong early weapon. Trench gun, good for getting assists, but not the best. One shotgun pistol, pretty good early on. Probably A tier early on, but then kind of falls down to maybe C tier once you start getting other stuff. Still not a bad secondary though. If you have an extra 2 weight you want to throw on and don't want to grab like a medic pistol, or if you already have the medic shotgun you want to throw that on too, you can. Grenades, fine. These guns, pretty good actually. It's just they kind of get overshadowed by this one. These guns all really good, and these guns all extremely strong too. Support doesn't really have that many bad weapons. Because even like the trench gun, I've actually done probably the hardest challenge I've done with support with the trench gun, and that was 7 rounds Hell on Earth in the catacombs only using the trench gun, and we did manage to do that. It was a very difficult challenge, but we did still manage to do it, and the shotgun didn't feel bad. It was mostly the map that made that one so hard. All right, well, let's see. We should probably do another one. Probably do 1 or 2 more for this stream. What class would you guys like to see next? Like I said, well, I've already done Commando and Medic in video, so we're not doing them. Just did Berserker and Support, so we're not doing them. And I'm not doing Sharpshooter or Survivalist today because of reasons I've explained. Sharpshooter, I haven't used the Cryo Compound Bow at all, so I still need to use that, kind of get a feel for it. And Survivalist is just going to be a big video that is going to take a while. So, I guess we can just go down the line and do Demo next if everybody's okay with that. Everybody would like to see Demo. Demo's super fun too. And Demo might actually be the most fun class. Not the best class, but one of the most fun classes. Or we can do Firebug. Or I guess SWAT. We could do Gunslinger too, but either Demo or Firebug? Alright. We'll do Demo. We can actually do both. We can do Demo and then Firebug. But I do need to, once again, get all the pictures and everything for them. So thanks everybody for coming out. I really do appreciate that. Hope you guys are enjoying the stream. Today we're just talking about killing floor stuff. And it's been super fun. We are holding a charity stream today. Today is for St. Jude's Children's Hospital. If you would like to donate, you can. There are links down in the description below if you're on YouTube or Facebook, and a link down below in the panels if you're on Twitch. Thanks everybody for donating. I really do appreciate it. So does the charity. Yeah, Demo's weapons are going to be a little bit strange, but okay. So I think I got them all. I got them all pulled up. I don't have them all saved just yet, but gotta save all these pictures. And thanks for all the responses too in the comments. This is actually super fun. I can feel my voice already giving out though, because I'm not used to talking this much. But we're gonna power through it, keep on going for the charity. Probably going to try to make this like a 4-hour stream. Get the RPG in there. Seeker 6 in there. I was actually using Demo's weapons quite a bit the other day. I was just trying to level them up. I was like, I haven't used a whole ton of Demo's weapons. Like, there's usually just the ones that I pick out and use, pretty frequently. So I was trying to go out of my way to use the other ones too. See kind of what I think about them. I don't want to make these lists and be like, oh yeah, this weapon it's not that great, and then it's just because I don't use it, super frequently. I mean, that does obviously affect my opinion, but all right. Actually, I mean to close you. Let's make another template. Everything over here. Make sure I'm not missing any important comments or anything. I mean, all of your comments are awesome, guys. I really do appreciate them. I get the links, but you guys aren't doing lots. Okay. Template. Kind of funny that it saves my Killing Floor 2 Commando Weapon tier list. Doesn't save any of the others, though, as like titles. Demo Weapon tier list. And these, I believe. Yeah. All of them, and then I also pistol too. Keep things fair. Also, some people in the comments were saying I shouldn't include the pistol and knife, but I feel like I should, just because they are a part of the equipment that you get. Whoops. Also, didn't set these are on square, and I need, otherwise they look really weird. It's really hard to tell what anything is when it's chopped up like that. Pistol, there you are. Okay, I think I got them all here. This time, let me this over here. All right, now we've got demo weapons. Important comment. Missing something. Oh, thank you for the follow, Torn. I appreciate that. Yes, you're right. I missed that comment, useless chub. I was looking at things. Sorry. You guys are awesome. All right. Let's get started with the demo list then. So, demo knife. You get the box cutter, which is, I actually kind of like this. It's kind of a cool little weapon. You will probably use it with demo because you can run yourself out of ammo, and it's not terrible for stabbing little stuff. Top of the morning to you, good sir. Oh, well, top of the morning to you too, Torn. Yeah, it's still going in D tier. It's still a knife. You don't get any bonuses for it. You're only going to use it to either block or to kill trash Zeds. That being said, you're probably going to kill trash Zeds, although you can bash with this weapon extremely well. This weapon does a real good job at bashing stuff. 9mm pistol is also just going to go in C tier. It's the same reason as like demo or Berserker. It's like you're going to use it, but not always the best to use it. All right, half a stick of dynamite. Half a stick of dynamite does really high damage. It's tied with doing the most amount of direct damage besides the Commando's frag grenade, and it has an extremely high stun chance. It also goes off instantly when you throw it at something and hit them. Oh, thank you for the host too. I appreciate that. This knife is cool, but it's all lies in description. It says it's for cutting boxes on the killing floor. But there are no boxes. You're right. Just for cutting people, making them feel sad. Yeah. I mean, on one hand, it does do a lot of damage. It's nice for stunning things, especially like an enraged Scrake you can stun and then usually get away from. On the other hand, I've seen so many demos blow themselves up with dynamite, and I've done it myself quite a few times too. So I'm gonna put it in B tier. It's very much like demo. It's a risk reward thing. Demo can do tons of damage. They're kind of squishy, so it probably belongs in B tier. All right, and then the grenade pistol. Pull this sucker up. The grenade pistol is actually pretty ridiculously strong with upgrades. It weighs 4, which is the most out of any. Well, I think it's tied with the most. Maybe it's not the most out of any of the starting weapons. It gets an additional 4 weight with its full upgrade, so it's 8, which is a lot. But it does almost double in damage, and it shoots out, similar to a shotgun, shoots out 10 pellets that do 30 damage apiece. So if you hit with, it shoots out 7 pellets that do 10 impact damage and 30 explosive damage on hit. It also has a 1.5 meter explosion radius, and you actually can't hurt yourself with this thing, which is really good. It's definitely a weapon I'd recommend for new demos. Just to hang on. It's actually a pretty good weapon for that. You get swarmed by stuff, aim it at your feet, blow up all the stalkers, crawlers, whatever's trying to kill you. So it actually does a pretty good amount of damage when it's fully upgraded with demo. I'm gonna put this thing in A tier. I think it's actually really good, especially like I said, since you can't blow yourself up with it. Anything that you can't blow yourself up with is great. I'm sorry I'm not talking much as busy. Oh, that's fine. Don't worry about it, Tarn. Grenade pistol is also high in the cost than other starting weapons, so that's a nice bonus when selling. That is true. That is true. You do get an additional 50 dosh out of this when you sell it, which is pretty nice, especially early on if you don't want to hang on to it for whatever reason. I think I still think I'm going to put it in A tier though. Like, its scaling is pretty ridiculous. You can kill flesh pounds with this thing, even on 6-man Hell on Earth, without much trouble, just by yourself. It's not bad, and that bonus of just not dealing damage to yourself is really good, especially for new demos. Maybe for more seasoned demos, it wouldn't be as good, maybe than B tier, but starting demo is definitely like A tier, maybe even S tier for them, just so they don't hurt themselves. Let's see, what do we have for tier 2 weapons, actually? I think we only got 2, don't we? Seems like we only 2. Yeah, I think so. We got the C4 and the grenade launcher. That is correct. All right. So let's talk about C4 then. C4 can do a ton of damage. It can't be upgraded at all, which is interesting. It's I think the only weapon that you can't upgrade at all, because it actually technically counts as equipment, similar to your welder or healer. But it has 820 damage on detonation with a 4 meter blast radius, and that's quite a lot. You do get more C4 the more you level up as well with demo. So to start out with, you only get, I believe, 3 things of C4, and then when you're fully upgraded, I think you get 8. It's not bad cost-wise to rebuy C4 either, given how much damage it actually does. But the C4 also does reduce damage if you chain them together. So you can't throw C4, blow it up, throw C4, blow it up, or throw a bunch of C4 and then blow them all up, have a ton of damage on them. C4 is a weapon that was added just to piss the Patriarch when he wants to heal. That is true. That is the one thing that it is really good at. You can stick C4 to the Patriarch, and when he runs off to go heal himself, you just blow him up. And it is really strong. It's also a really strong off-perk weapon if you take it with other classes, if you just want to have extra damage towards like flesh pounds. It kills flesh pounds very well. That being said, with no upgrades, 3 weight's fine. I actually don't know where I want to put this. It's definitely not like A or S tier. It's probably B or C tier. I would not recommend it for new players to use, though. It is very easy to kill yourself with. I think on the lower end of B tier is where I'm going to put C4. It's pretty good. It does a job very well. It's just that job isn't always necessary. um, so, yeah, not bad. The other tier 2 weapon is the grenade launcher. Now, the grenade launcher, this is the M79 grenade launcher, which is a single shot grenade launcher. It weighs 6. It does 150 damage on direct impact and then 225 damage on explosion. It has a an 8.5 meter, 8.5 meter explosion radius. That is not bad. It also has pretty good scaling too. At max level, it has 55% bonus damage. Pretty good. That being said, you can injure yourself with this weapon. It also has a detonation range as well, so the grenade will not go off within so many meters of yourself. I can't remember exactly what that is. But if you're shooting at something directly too close to you, it won't explode. It will just do the 150 impact damage, which is still a lot of impact damage. Grenade launcher has that cute cat skin. So it's ultimate S tier. By the way, its explosion blast radius is insane, though. It is. It does have an insane blast radius compared to a lot of the other explosive weapons. It is very good for that. It's very good for clearing crowds. Not as much for dealing direct damage to like flesh pounds. Still not bad at that job though either. That being said, it is single shot. You have to reload each time. It does have the range. You can injure yourself with it. I think I'm going to put it at high B tier. It's still a pretty good option. And it fits into a lot of loadouts with its weight. So it's not bad by any means. It's also pretty good as an off-perk weapon too if you want to take it with other classes. Probably not as good as like C4 is as an off-perk weapon, but it's not bad. I think B tier is where it sits. I mean, you know, maybe with that, yeah, that Batcat skin, it might put it to S tier just because of that alone, but I sadly don't have that, so it actually has quite a few good-looking skins on it. Even like the cheaper ones that you can find on it, like the Tiger skin's pretty good. All right, now on to, tier 3 weapons. So let's talk about the first tier 3 weapon, which I talked about with Berserker, which is the Pulverizer. And Pulverizer, I said, was really good on Berserker because it does a ton of damage. Well, it does even more damage on Demo, since they get the bonus explosion damage. And it's a melee weapon, so you can block with it. It's still 6 weight, which limits you on what you can take. And it is an extremely risky weapon to be using on Demo. Like, yeah, for being able to block, that's great. Flesh Pound runs at you, block, get away, use whatever weapon. Cool. I've never got this thing to work. It's really good on Berserker. It's really bad on Demo. You probably don't want to use it on Demo. It's just like it. Mainly at 6 weight, Demo doesn't have a lot of good weapons that fit well together. At 6 weight, you do have a couple options. You can go with the M16, which limits how much damage you can actually do to big stuff in certain ways. You can go with the grenade launcher, which is a good alternative. You can go with the grenade pistol, which is also pretty good. But then you're going to be relying mostly on these and then only pulling this out every once in a while. You're going to use it similar to Berserker. At least the way that I use it on Berserker is use it to hit flesh pounds hard. That's its like one and main goal to do, or sometimes to clear a crowd. And then switch to whatever your other weapon is. You're going to be doing the same thing here, but usually you don't have to do that with Demo. Usually if you see a flesh pound, well, I got a grenade launcher. Shoot it with a grenade launcher. It works just fine. It seems kind of weird to have just such a specialized weapon with that, in my opinion. So, yeah, into D tier you go on Demo. You're great on Berserker. You're bad on Demo. Yeah, not much more to say about that. All right, let's talk about the Seal Squeal. That'll be our next tier 3. Now, the Seal Squeal is probably one of my favorite weapons, if not my favorite weapon to use for fun stuff. that doesn't really equate to being good, as I've said before. Um, so you get 5 shots in it. It doesn't hold that many extra rounds. They did buff that, so it does hold more rounds now, which is nice. And it does do more damage now, which is also nice. It does 125 direct damage when you hit something with it, and then 250 damage on the explosion. The explosion has a 6-meter radius with fall off on it, of course. You can shoot this thing reasonably fast. The harpoons stick into enemies and pin them to walls, so you can use them kind of as mines. Your secondary fire is to set the mines off. And it has decent scaling too. 15%, 30% bonus damage is nice. That being said, this gun is not the best for every situation. It really isn't. There's plenty of times where I've ran out of ammo with it and wish that I had something else. You can hurt yourself with it pretty easily because you might forget about the harpoons, or you might shoot them at your feet to clear off small things. Be willing to sacrifice a little bit of health to do that. It is like I said, it's probably my favorite weapon in terms of how fun it is. It's super fun to use and I love it to death, but it's still not way great overall in practice. Usually you run out of ammo with it, even now that they buffed the amount of ammo that you get. So I think I'm going to put this thing at high C tier. Like, super fun. It also weighs a lot. That should be another thing I say. Because it weighs 7 with 2 upgrades. That's 9. I don't think that's necessarily worth it for that. But still, like, super fun weapon. Super fun, not super great. Let's see. Talk about the M16. M16 I gave A tier with Commando. Because it is quite good with Commando. And it's also quite good with Demo. The grenade launcher is okay. It's pretty much the same as the smaller grenade launcher. It doesn't scale as well, though. And it doesn't have the same explosion rate. I think it's smaller. Check all that to make sure that I'm really telling you guys the truth. Yeah, so the impact of the projectile does 230 damage. The explosion does 230 damage. But it has a 5-meter explosion radius. So yes, quite a bit smaller radius overall. That being said, it does have a machine gun attached to it. And Demo doesn't have the best way of clearing out small Zeds, especially if they get close to them. Certain weapons certainly can. The grenade pistol can. The seal squeal kind of can, but not bad. M16 is worse in Demo, I think. Correctly, the bullet damage doesn't scale with Demo at all. That is true. Bullet damage does not scale with Demo at all. Explosion damage does. Same with reload speed does not scale with the assault rifle part of it. But the reload on the grenade does, if you're going reload speed with the grenade. That being said, it is one of the best. Well, it's not necessarily one of the best anymore, but it was one of the best options for Demo for quite a while, just because you needed something to keep yourself safe. And it's still pretty good at that. There are some better weapons than that, though. I think I'm going to put this at low A tier. It sits at a nice weight, too. It goes well with a lot of other weapons. So, machine gun part is kind of a nice thing, and the grenade launcher, it kind of does feel like an upgrade from the grenade launcher since they weigh the same, I believe. But then it's like, okay, you're trading off raw damage and explosion radius for a little bit more utility for yourself. I can kind of value that a little bit more, but I could see somebody switching places with these two. So that's where I'm going to put it. And then we got the Kaboom stick. So we really need to all right, I'll talk about the Kaboom stick, but this thing is ridiculously good. I love that they've added this gun into the game. And this gives Demo so many options right now. So where the double barrel did 25 damage per pellet and shot 10 pellets. This one also shoots 10 pellets, but it does 15 damage per shot on direct impact, and then another 38 damage on the explosion of the pellets. So if you hit something with just one barrel of this at close range, you are doing 530 damage to it. And with both barrels, you're doing 1,060 damage. That is unupgraded. That is That is dumb. That is a dumb amount of damage that you can deal to something, especially since you're going to be running. You're more than likely going to be running some perk to get you more demo damage, so it's going to be higher than that. And it scales actually even better than the double barrel does, going up to a total of 30% increased damage, which doesn't sound like too much, but that's actually like an additional, I think, 400-ish damage that you're getting with upgrades of this thing. And it weighs 6 regularly. It weighs 6. That fits into so many categories. Like not meant so many categories. It fits into so many loadouts. You can put this thing with any other demo weapon, and it does so well. Also, interestingly, I didn't know this until recently, but the support's tight choke ability actually works with this, making it not spread out as much, which is kind of cool. Also, you can do the same thing that you can with the double barrel, and that is jump into the air, fire both barrels, and send yourself flying backwards. This gives Demo even more mobility. Well, the Demo doesn't have any mobility, so this actually gives them mobility. So it has utility for that. It does a ridiculous amount of damage. Like, yeah, its range kind of sucks. You can't shoot anything past, medium range with this, but who cares? Once anything gets inside of your range, that is very scary for whatever just stepped into your range. Yeah, this is definitely going S tier. Like, if the double barrel is S tier, this is at the top of S tier. Maybe not as high as certain other weapons, maybe not as high as the medic pistol overall, just because the medic pistol is ridiculous utility. But it's definitely up there in S tier. I don't think anybody will be that surprised that I put the kaboom stick that high. That thing is dumb, and dumb in the best way. I'm kind of surprised it didn't actually get nerfed, or if it did, it didn't get nerfed that hard. All right, let's talk about the blunderbuss again. So blunderbuss. Now we can talk about its main rate of fire, or its main fire. Shoots out a cannonball, does 300 damage on direct impact, 250 damage on the explosion, has a 7-meter radius, which is pretty high. And its secondary fire fires out 10 pellets that do 50 damage apiece. These count as shrapnel that can bounce twice. So, this gun is also really fun on this class too. You can blow yourself up pretty easily with this weapon on demo though. So keep that in mind. You also get a small magazine size. You only get 3. It's not a huge deal because you do get 40 out of it, which is fine. The cannonball is only really good at medium range. Long range is kind of hard to hit, and close range you don't want to use it so much because you can blow yourself up with it. So there is that. I think I'm going to put the blunderbuss in A tier. I think it goes right into A tier right away. Once again, it's not bad. Not something I'd recommend to new demos to use, similar to like the C4 or the Seal Squill, but for experienced demos, it's pretty good. It's pretty solid overall. It kind of feels like an upgrade from the regular grenade launcher, in my opinion. Shoots similar, but also has larger magazine and a second rate of fire, or a second fire mode. So pretty good. I like it. Let's see. Next one up is the Seeker 6. So the Seeker 6 is another one of those kind of strange weapons. It actually looks pretty good on paper. It does 125 damage on direct impact, 160 damage on explosion, and it has a 3.5 meter explosion radius, which is pretty small. It's still not bad though, because you can kind of aim for the legs and stuff and blow them up. It holds 6 shots. You can either fire it from a standard mode, just firing it one rocket at a time, or you can have a lock-on mode where it can lock onto multiple enemies. You can still fire one rocket at a time, because sometimes the lock-on mode doesn't work once enemies are partially behind cover or at such a long range. Its upgrade gives it 12.5% more damage, which isn't a whole ton, especially since it doesn't have a whole ton of damage. That being said, you can do quite a bit of damage per second with this weapon, and one thing it does actually really well is stack up the nuked ability, or destroyer of worlds, whatever it's called, the one that sends out the nukes. You can potentially set off 6 nukes, potentially more if you have a extended long enough to where you can reload and fire another 6 shots or so. So that's pretty good. 9 weight goes up to 10, does heavily limit you as to what you can take. You can also just keep it at 9. I recommend that you do, because then you can still use like the kaboom stick, the M16, stuff like that. Overall, it's not bad at anything, but it's not great at anything either. So I'm gonna put this right into B tier as well. Like, not a bad option, not a great option, not a bad option, you know? All right, RPG. We're gonna put the RPG right into S tier. The RPG is pretty ridiculous. It does 900 damage. Well, it does 150 impact damage and then 750 explosive damage. It also technically does another 150 back blast damage. So anything directly behind you, you can kill too. I've done that in a couple videos where I've killed the boss that way. It's kind of funny. I mean, the big disadvantage is you're putting your back to whatever you're trying to fight. So it's not really a practical means, but it is kind of nice if a stalker sneaks up behind you. You don't notice it and you're firing at a flesh pound or something. But yeah, it has a 4-meter rocket radius, as a 3-meter backblast radius, so you can hit anything behind you in 3 meters in kind of a cone shape, which is sort of funny too. Its upgrade gives it 10% bonus damage and 1 more weight. It goes up to 10. Once again, you don't need to upgrade this weapon. In fact, I would recommend against it. Because it just kind of fits better there. The 9 weight. Imagine realistic damage. Loading killing floor. Where you can take much more damage from Berserker's Blades, Patriarch's Minigun, dealing double damage. Damaging, playing minigun. Oh, yeah. When you deal as much damage, deal much more damage. Maybe that will be a thing in a new killing floor. Maybe it could be. That'd be interesting, especially if it's a higher game difficulty or game mode. That would definitely change a lot of stuff, because then I think if you didn't have that, medic weapons would shoot up in popularity a lot. At least, you know, comparison to Killing Floor 2. You had that, like, medic weapons would shoot up a lot. Any weapon you could block with would probably shoot up a lot. Explosive weapons would probably shoot up a lot too. So it might be fun, but you still have to somewhat balance it around all the weapons so that they're at least somewhat usable. That wouldn't be super fun if it's just explosive weapons only, even though explosive weapons are super fun. But yeah, the RPG does a ridiculous amount of on-hit damage. You can also shoot it from quite decent range. It has an okay speed to it. It is, of course, only single shots. You do have to reload it each time, but it does so much damage. This one also has the same effect as the regular grenade launcher, and actually a couple of these have the same ability, and that's that they take so much time to arm. So if you shoot it at close range, it won't explode. Which actually is not how a regular RPG works. But that's actually how, like, these grenade launchers do work in real life. But the RPG actually doesn't work that way. Apparently, I seen a video about this. To keep your RPG rocket safe, it was, you have like a plastic cap that goes on the end of it so that you don't drop it and have it explode at your feet. Apparently that's happened quite a few times before, but see, well, you deal too much damage, as much more damage. Maybe that would be a thing. Yeah, I would kind of like the idea of dealing more damage but also taking more damage. That would be kind of cool with a lot of classes. So yeah, RPG probably S tier. It's very good. It's also a very good off perk weapon if you want to take it with another class. I've taken this with Medic plenty of times, Commando a couple times. I feel like I've taken it with SWAT a couple times too. Sure about that. it's a pretty good weapon. Alright, and we only have one more tier 4 weapon, and that is the Husk Cannon. Now, the Husk Cannon, I believe, is actually better on Firebug than it is on Demo. Some people don't. There are plenty of people that don't agree with that and think that it's a better weapon on a Demo, and I can understand why. It weighs 8. It has a lot of very strange numbers. It can be doing between 100 damage and 500 damage depending on how long you charge it up. It also does damage over time, and it has an explosion radius that deals fire damage and deals damage over time because it's fire, but also generally has high knockback as well. So it can also cause ground fires, which do damage over time. That's another important part of this. And its one upgrade gives it 10% more damage. That is okay. Goes up to 9 weight, which is also okay. You can still take other weapons with it. I found that the best way to actually use this on Demo is not to charge it up very often. Sometimes I will, but just to rapidly spam fire it. It does like 100 damage with fire damage is pretty strong, at least for killing trash Zeds with it. You also can't hurt yourself with it, or at least not easily. I think you can when it's charged up to a certain extent. Then you do a little bit of damage to yourself. But it's very good at clearing small things away from you quickly. And clearing out small things before they get to you. With its full charge thing, it does have the slower travel time. I don't think it's as useful as like the RPG in most situations, at least where you want to, where either you want an RPG or you want the charge. It's good for those middle situations where you kind of want both, where the charge can be useful and the rapid fire can be useful. So I think it's also going to be an A tier. It's not bad. I just think it's better on Firebug, in my opinion. And then we got the big grenade launcher here. What is this one called? This one has a longer name. This is the M32 grenade launcher. I always get these mixed up. Whenever I get a daily task, I'm like, oh, grenade launcher. I'll just get this grenade launcher. And half the time it's this one. So, this one has, well, okay, it weighs 9. It's a tier 5 weapon, so you can't upgrade it. It does 150 damage on direct impact and 225 damage on explosion. It has an 8.5 meter explosion radius. And this thing's very much like the regular grenade launcher, except for that you get 6 of them, or you have to reload. That being said, it takes about as much time to reload these 6 as it does to reload about 6 shots with this. Not quite. I think this one's actually a little bit quicker. I don't really find myself taking this weapon very much. I don't find it as useful as just the regular grenade launcher, in my opinion. It's kind of disappointing because it has a really long reload animation. You can stop the reload animation whenever you want, just, you know, have however many rounds you've reloaded, which isn't bad. It does do a decent amount of damage and a really high amount of damage per second. Its burst damage potential is there, but that's like the main thing it's used for. It's just high amount of burst damage. Then it kind of just peters out and you have to crank the thing up, reload it, and go back to it. It seems like a cool gun. It's just, it's not that useful in my opinion. I'm going to put it probably on the low end of B tier. I don't know if it's quite C tier because it does have that huge amount of burst damage you can do. It does still have a big explosion radius. It does clear crowds very easily. But everything else, it doesn't feel super great with. So I think this is where I'm going to put all of the demo weapons. I think that seems good. We can go through them again one more time for everybody that didn't see. Knife, never going to use it unless you have to. Pulverizer, don't use it. It's not that good on demo. Does a lot of damage, but it's very risky. Seal Squill, super fun, not the best weapon overall. 9mm, again, you're going to use it when you need to. Big grenade launcher, not that great, but not that bad either. Has some things going for it, not a whole lot more though. C4, really high damage. Works decently well. Stick of dynamite, you can blow yourself up with it, but you can blow everything else up with it pretty well too. Seeker 6, not bad option. Not a bad option overall. Decent rate of fire, decent explosion. Doesn't do anything spectacular though. Regular grenade launcher, very similar to Seeker 6. Does everything decently well, but nothing super spectacular. The blunderbuss, kind of an upgrade from the grenade launcher. Explosion plus a shotgun, that's nice. Husk cannon, good for rapid fire and sometimes good for the charge. M16 can keep you safe and does have a grenade launcher attached to it, which is nice. Grenade pistol, really good with upgrades. You can't blow yourself up with it, which is nice. RPG, just ridiculously strong. So much damage. And then Kaboom Stick, ridiculous damage and weight and everything else. It's just so good. Alright, so that was demo. Let's continue on with Firebug, and I think that'll probably be the last one I do. My voice is definitely giving out. So let me grab all of the Firebug weapons then. We can talk about them. Hopefully I can talk. Hopefully I still got a voice for this. And then anybody that's missed the other ones, don't worry. They're going to be made into videos. You can watch them whenever you'd like. Your own pace. The Firebug. There you are. Pick all of these. Alright, I got it pulled up now. And today is a charity stream as well. Today we are raising money for St. Jude Children's Hospital, and we will for the entire week. So from today until next Sunday, we will be raising money for them. You can donate any amount that you'd like. If you'd like to donate, you can find the link down below. If you're on Twitch, or sorry, if you're on YouTube or Facebook. If you're on Twitch, you can go down to the panels below, hit !charity, or type in !charity, and you'll get a link to it. Or you can click on the charity donation link. You can donate any amount you'd like. All of it goes through Tiltify. I don't see any of it. Tiltify doesn't see any of it. Charity sees all of it. Everybody's going to be a weird one. I think maybe somewhat dividing. I don't know. People have seemed to like these lists so far, and I've made pretty strong arguments as to where they would place things, or seem to be fine with where I place them for reason or another. Of course, this is just my opinion of the weapons. You don't have to, it's not set in stone or anything. You don't have to think it's the end all be all. I'm just a guy who plays Killing Floor a decent amount and makes videos about it. So, also I don't always main these different ones. So somebody who definitely mains like SWAT or something like that might disagree with my list because way more hours in it than I do. All right, let's see. Make another template. Then we go Firebug. Grab all the files. All of these, plus a couple others. I still can grab the knife or the pistol for this. So utility knife and whoops. I did grab their knife. Whoops. I grabbed Demo's knife as well there, and they doesn't need to be there. The regular pistol. Alright, can I actually delete that part of it without deleting the template? Maybe not. Let me just delete this and then I don't was my mistake. Alright, Firebug. Actually quite a few different categories you can pick on this site too. Picking video games, which is right in between Valorant and waifus. Great. Okay, those. Fit that. Grab the pistol and put it on here. Me? Wait, I grabbed the stick of dynamite the other time too. Oops. There's that little. All right, there we go. Drag that over there. Okay, now I've got. Oh, whoops. Put this in square mode. It does not need to be square mode. Gotta go shower. We'll come back maybe soon. Good luck streaming. Well, thank you, Useless Job. It was nice speaking with you today. I'm probably going to be off after this one. I don't know how long this one's going to take me, but my voice is starting to give out. But yes, thanks everybody, and thanks for all the donations to the charity too. I really do appreciate that. We're going to start out doing Firebug and finish with Firebug, I guess. Okay. Not missing any other messages, I don't think. Good. All right, so start out with the basics again, just like we do with all these classes. So medic knife, Firebug knife, D tier. You're pretty much never going to use it on Firebug unless you're going to use it to block with. And that's it. You're probably not going to be using it for clearing trash Zeds because all of your weapons are so good for that. So no real reason to use it. Like I said, maybe I'll make a knife list just of which knives I like best. Just based on how they look. So yeah, put that one there. 9mm pistol, same thing. It's always going to go in C tier unless it's like good on certain classes. Like it's probably going to go to B tier for if it was in B tier for Commando, probably B tier for SWAT, and it'll probably be B tier for maybe Sharpshooter and Gunslinger, because they can use it pretty well too. But that's because they have abilities that help it out a bit more. So it does have that. Let's see. Molotovs are actually really good. They're probably the best grenade at killing small stuff. They can be, you can burn yourself with them though, which is bad. But you can't burn your friends with them. So throwing them at your friends' feet, if they're playing something like Sharpshooter, is not a bad idea. So I'm going to put Molotovs in A tier. They're pretty good. They can also potentially be bad if you cause Scrakes or Flesh Pounds to rage. But you can also get the fire effect, which causes them to freak out, similar to the toxic effect. It's just, it's not always preferred if you're throwing Molotovs at Scrakes. Don't do that if you're new to Firebug. And then we've got the Coggenburn. The Coggenburn, to start out with, at least as a weapon by itself without any perks or anything, it's pretty bad. It weighs a good amount. It doesn't refill ammo as well as other weapons. It gets a lower ammo refill rate. It does good damage over time, and it does okay damage hit compared to other Firebug weapons. It's however, with certain perks like ground fire, it can be really good. Be very useful early on because it's pretty cost effective. It does 10 damage on direct hit at a rate of fire of 100 or 850. The splash damage does 5 damage with a 1.5 meter radius. This also deals damage over time and can cause ground fire that deals 10 damage at a 1 meter radius. So you can do a lot of damage over time, and damage over time isn't the easiest to quantify with Firebug. Also, its upgrades are pretty lackluster. It only gets about 10% each time you upgrade it, up to 50% bonus damage at 4 weight. So it does okay-ish damage at 9 weight, which is not good. It's not that great of a weapon, in all honesty. It's probably my least. It's definitely my least favorite weapon to find on a survivalist because you get no bonuses with it. On Firebug, it's not bad though. C tier. At high ranks, it's better. It's good at clearing small stuff, like I said, for the first early rounds, but after that, it's bad. After the first like 2-3 rounds, depending on how long a game you're playing, it quickly goes to D tier. But early on, very strong. All right, so tier B with ground fire, especially, it's best starting weapon in the game. That is true. Like I said, if we're just taking starting weapons for the first couple rounds, Cock and Burn is one of the best ones because you're only dealing with trash Zeds and things like bloats, which it's very strong against. And ground fires do increase a lot. Ground fire does make this weapon extremely strong for the first couple waves. After that, though, it falls off pretty hard. So I think, yeah, C tier is where it is probably going to be. Up next, we're going to talk about the Spitfire, just one of them, and then we're going to talk about dual Spitfires. So one Spitfire only costs you 325. That's pretty cheap. Weighs 2. It gets 6-round magazine, just like regular revolver. It does 40 damage on direct hit, and then damage over time. It can cause floor fires as well. Of course, the residual flame, which also deals damage. It also has decently high stagger chance, and it's one of the few weapons that you can upgrade that doesn't increase its weight, at least for the first upgrade. Its upgrades are actually pretty good too. It upgrades by 25% increments, so it gets really pretty strong per shot. On Firebug can make excellent use of the single Spitfire. So I think I'm going to put this one in B tier. It's a pretty solid weapon, especially for its weight. Maybe low A tier for certain loadouts. But overall, I think high B tier is a pretty good place for it. Dual Spitfires, on the other hand, though. Dual Spitfires are also pretty cheap. Let's see. Dual Spitfires do the same damage. They do 40 damage. They have the same scaling. And more interestingly, they also don't get any weight for their first upgrade, which is really nice. They also only weigh 4, which fits into a lot of loadouts. This just gives them a bigger magazine, a higher rate of fire. It does lower their reload speed, obviously. But these guns are actually really, really good with Firebug. They are insanely good if you're running the... is it Inferno or Burn the World or whatever their 25 perk is that lets you have infinite ammo? You can create an entire room of floor fire where almost anything will die in it. It's kind of crazy. So yeah, they're going to high A tier for Firebug. I might put them in low S tier. We'll see as we go on with the list. They're very strong. I like them. Let's see, they're not. They're once we get around to like Sharpshooter and Gunslinger, they're going to be quite a bit lower because on those classes they don't excel nearly as much. Like they definitely do on Firebug. Firebug makes these guns very good. All right, our next tier 2 weapon that we're going to talk about is the Dragon's Breath. We talked about this on support. It's not way great on support. It's still okay as support because you still get a lot of bonus assists with it. Fire damage is kind of nice. Damage over time is nice, but it did have a small magazine, slow reload. So for support, we put it in C tier. However, on Firebug, it's actually really good because it's one of their highest damage early weapons. It does a really high amount of damage early on for the other Firebug weapons in comparison. As it shoots out 6 pellets to do 35 damage apiece, equaling 210 damage total, not counting fire damage. And this one can also start floor fires, which is also really good. You're also going to be racking up a ton of assists with this because fire spreads like crazy to everything. And it's pretty good. It also has pretty good scaling too with upgrades. It's 10% bonus for each upgrade, which is nice for shotgun. And it ends up being a total weight of 8 if you fully upgrade it, which is also okay. It does let you take other items like the Spitfires, and I think this one actually probably belongs at the same rank as Spitfires in A rank. It's pretty good all around. Yeah, good option, very cheap. It's also really good with the bonus ammunition, the large capacity tanks that Firebug gets, because then that doubles your effective tank capacity, which also counts for clip capacity. So you go from having 6 rounds of pump action to 12 rounds, and then reloading isn't as big of an issue because usually you can deal with any sort of situation that you might have with 12 rounds and then have time to reload them. So it's pretty good for that. I like it. I think it's a good weapon, especially on Firebug. Firebug makes the best use of this weapon in my. Let's see. Up next, I think we have tier 3. Click on the Firebug and make sure that that's true because I tried to do that with support and I was incorrect. Tier 3 weapons. So our very first tier 3 weapon with Firebug is the MAC-10. Now the MAC-10 is a fire submachine gun. They've changed it a couple times. They changed the sound design on it, which is good. I like the way it sounds better now. It does 28 damage a shot. Again, doing fire damage over time. This one cannot start floor fires. Holds 32 rounds in the magazine, which is good. Its iron sights are pretty bad. I say that because sometimes you do want to aim down sights with more direct fire guns. With like these other guns, you don't really necessarily need to aim down sights with them, so I haven't mentioned their sights. This one you also don't necessarily need to as well. Its iron sights aren't the best. It has a 900 rounds a minute rate of fire, which is good. And its upgrades are okay. It gets 15% more damage with each upgrade, which is not a whole lot, but then most submachine guns don't do a whole ton of damage. This gun also used to, before, have a very unique ability, and that was it counted as doing shotgun damage rather than doing submachine gun damage, which didn't make it do any. That didn't like make it into a shotgun or anything, but it did count towards the damage amplifiers or debuffs towards other monsters, and more monsters, or more Zeds, I should say. More Zeds are more resistant to submachine gun rounds than to shotgun rounds. At least stronger Zeds are. Right now, it's kind of in a weird spot. It's really good with the Burning of Worlds. I should really check what that perk is called. Let me that one. Pyromaniac, that's what it is. It's really good with Pyromaniac because you get infinite rate of fire. You get infinite ammo during Zed time, and for that, it's quite strong. Outside of that case, though, it's not super strong. It also benefits quite a bit from the large capacity magazines, giving it 64 rounds of ammo, which is a lot. And it reloads quick anyway, so that's kind of nice. Overall, this is just kind of a nice overall gun, but doesn't do anything super spectacular, so I'm going to put it in B tier. I said, not bad at anything, not way great at anything, but it does well. It does well enough. It earns itself a nice little B tier. Hang on. What's the next weapon on our list? All right, the next weapon is the HRG Scorcher. Now, this is the grenade pistol that's been reworked to shoot out flares. With its primary fire, it fires out a regular flare that goes in a straight line. This does have a pretty limited range, though. It does drop off rapidly once you hit something with it. Then it does 333 direct impact damage, as well as damage over time because of the burning. Now you can fire the secondary fire, and it fires a broken flare, which sends out fire in a straight line in front of you. This leaves floor fires on the ground, and if you hit something directly with the broken flare, it does 70 damage. But then all the floor fires do damage over time. This thing weighs 4 pounds, which is, I guess, 4 weight, not necessarily 4 pounds, but 4 weight, which is good. It does not benefit from the the high capacity tanks though. You don't get 2 rounds in it, or even if it's 100% increase, you don't. It can only hold 1. So, and its upgrades aren't bad either, because it gets 20% bonus increase in damage with each upgrade, increasing its weight up to a max of 6, which is still not bad. It still gives you plenty of options to use. And yeah, it's not a bad weapon. It's actually a pretty fun weapon to use. That being said, it is best used in combination with other specific weapons, though, because you don't want to be running the high capacity tanks. You're probably going to be running the fire damage with it. Fire damage works well with almost everything, but certain weapons definitely benefit more from the capacity tank, like the trench shotgun. So I'm going to put this one also in A tier. Like, it's pretty good. Limited ammo pool though too. That does kind of hold it back a little bit. So I'm going to put it at the low end of A tier. It's kind of straddling that line between A and B tier for me. All right, and then our final tier 3 weapon. No, wait, we have one more. We have this one too. I forget about this one. For our second to last tier 3 weapon, then we've got the flamethrower. I keep forgetting that this is a tier 3 weapon. I think it's a tier 4, but it's not. It's a tier 3 weapon. And the flamethrower is pretty good. It's actually probably my favorite weapon on Firebug, or at least one of them. It weighs 7, has a capacity of 100. It does 18 damage on direct hit at the same rate of fire as the cock and burn, so about 850. It does splash damage of 5 damage up to 1.3 meters, and it has ground fire damage of 10. That's pretty good. Its upgrades increase it by 15% and then up by another 5%, so up to 20% increased damage at a total overall weight of 9. This weapon is actually one of the other ones that I don't really recommend upgrading. At its weight, you can take quite a few things with it. It gives you more options, and it's pretty good. It's extremely good at killing trash Zeds. It's extremely good at the ground fire. And it's pretty good with the knockback ability, too. Overall, this is actually a really strong weapon. And I think I want to put this in low S tier. Just because of how good it clears off Zeds. Like, it's pretty good. I'm debating whether either like high A or low S tier. Because you can use it with quite a few other weapons. It does give you that option. It does clear small Zeds very, very well. It does okay against big Zeds because you can knock them back. You can slow them down with the floor fires. It's kind of one of those weapons where it works well in very particular situations, but they're pretty common situations. So I think low S tier for the flamethrower. Although I could definitely see somebody putting it in mid A tier. Because of like that. All right, and then we got the Fire M16. What is it called? I don't even remember what it's called. I just always refer to it as the Fire M16. Incendiary rifle. Okay. So yeah, Fire M16. Now this one has the exact same damages as the M16. It has the exact same stats. It weighs 6. It holds 30 rounds. It does 30 damage. It has the 669 rate of fire. It does fire damage over time, which is actually kind of making it better than the M16 because, hey, extra damage. And then its secondary fire is the fire grenade, which does 330 impact damage when it hits something, and then 100 explosion damage when it explodes, plus the fire damage over time, and it does create a floor fire dealing damage over time as well. So it has quite a few things going on with it. Now, the M16 I'm putting into A tier with both the Commando and the Demo, and it's going to go right there with Firebug as well. Probably, yeah, somewhere in here. I don't know exactly where, but yeah, it's quite good. It definitely benefits from the large magazine because 60 rounds in it is actually a lot. You do notice that. Just like the M16, it's got very clean iron sights. It's got virtually no recoil. Adding fire damage is nice. The fire grenade on it is pretty good too. I like that. It's just overall a pretty nice gun. I don't know if I'd say it's S tier, but it's probably high A tier, similar to like these guns. I could see anybody putting these ones into the S tier though too, because they are pretty decent for them. All right, now moving on to the tier 4 weapons. Let's talk about the microwave gun and how microwave gun has either always been overpowered, it's always been in like S tier, or it's been just kind of underpowered and not that great. And currently it's kind of underpowered and not that great. So it does 16 damage on direct hit. It fires at 850 rounds a minute, same as the flamethrower or the cock and burn. It does microwave damage on direct hit, splash damage counting as fire damage, and I guess microwave damage. And then it can create ground fires, dealing ground fire damage. Its secondary fire shoots out similar to a shotgun in a way, having a 7.5 meter explosion radius, dealing 210 damage. This also can apply splash damage as well. So this thing's ground fire actually does less ground fire than the flamethrower or the cock. That's 5. So not as good there. Its upgrade gives it 15% more damage at 1 more weight, which takes it up to 10, which definitely limits you with the weapons you can take with Firebug. Microwave damage is a strong damage. It does well against certain things. At least microwave damage is decent for killing mechanicals. That's exactly. Microwave damage is good for that purpose. For the weight, though, and for the limited uses, it's honestly not my favorite weapon. It's not awful, because whenever I've used it, I've always felt like it's kind of okay. It's kind of meh, in my opinion. So I think B tier, maybe C tier. It's right about there, because either the microwave gun is meh, doing okay, everything all right, or it's overpowered whenever they buff it, because then it's just like it does a ridiculous amount of damage per second. Microwave damage does so much more to boss Zeds, and you just kill them so fast. I don't remember there ever really being a middle ground where I was like, okay, I might take this in certain situations. It's either I'm probably not going to take it and pick something else, or I'm going to take it because it's just broken at the moment. Like, it's just such a strange weapon. All right. And then we've got the Husk Cannon. The Husk Cannon's actually really good at 8 weight. And it can do between 100 and 500 damage on direct impact, which counts as a mixture of explosion and fire damage. That's pretty good. With its 1 upgrade, it can upgrade by 10 or 15%, I think. 10%. 10% increased damage. This can create ground fire that does 3 damage with a 1.3 meter radius, so it doesn't do that much ground damage. It does do decent damage over time, and it does do a lot of direct impact damage. Some people like to take this for spam firing it with Firebug. I don't really like using it that way. I don't find that that's the best way to use it. I think it's better to charge it up and use the big hit to hit big Zeds like Flesh Pounds, especially. Does well against them. And then switch over to another weapon for taking care of trash Zeds. I don't think that it's as great for all-around multi-purpose weapon. That being said, it is still really strong at what it does. I think I'm going to put Husk Cannon for Firebug in low S tier, similar to how I put the Flamethrower in low S tier. They're actually pretty good in combination because they make up for each other's weaknesses pretty well. But But yeah, I find it more use. This one, I'd actually probably put Husk Cannon a little bit higher because Husk Cannon can kill small stuff decently well. It doesn't kill it nearly as well as the flamethrower, but then this one can also hurt big stuff. So that's kind of my thought process there. All right, and then we're gonna move on to the this one. This one is the Helios rifle, right? Pretty sure it is. It's Helios rifle. So the Helios rifle does 50 damage a shot at 600 rounds a minute. This counts as microwave damage, which can also do fire damage, which does damage over time. This one cannot start floor fires. This one also has a pretty high penetrative ability too, where it can punch through multiple Zeds. Can't upgrade this one at all. It weighs 8, which is okay. You can mix and match it. Helios is high S tier. But don't spoil it just yet. Useless job. Let me praise it a little bit more. But yeah, you're right. Microwave damage, that's pretty good already. I think this thing holds 40 rounds in a magazine. You're probably going to use high capacity tanks with it, so you're going to have an 80 round assault rifle that's doing more damage than most assault rifles and doing a damage type that's strong against most big things. That's really good. It does cost quite a bit, but I think it's definitely worth it. And yeah, it probably is at the moment Firebug's best weapon overall. So high S tier you go. Yeah, I think it deserves to be up there. It's really quite good. See, so I'm gonna go over this real quick now. Yeah, I can definitely hear. Yeah, I can definitely feel my throat closing from talking too much. But yeah, going back over this knife, you're never gonna use it really ever except for blocking because Firebug's really good at killing trash. So you're probably not even gonna use it for that unless you, I guess, just want to create fire circles with your cock and burn early. Cock and burn is really strong early on. I'm actually gonna put that above that. Yeah, cock and burn really strong early on. Falls off pretty hard though as the game goes on because its upgrades don't do a whole lot for it. Pistol, you'll use it if you need to, but it's the same place with like all the pistols pretty much, or the pistol for most classes. Microwave gun, good in certain situations. It's either overpowered or underpowered, so it's B tier. Mac 10, pretty decent overall. Nice weight. Good magazine size. Better if you're using high capacity magazines. Overall, pretty nice gun, but doesn't do anything super spectacular either. Single Spitfire, pretty good. Nice weight, nice scaling, pretty good fire damage, and good for either high capacity magazines or floor fire or both build out, depending on what you want to build it. Let's see the I'm forgetting this one. The HRG. Get these names mixed up. Scorcher. That one's a Scorcher. The Scorcher, pretty good overall. High single target damage and good control with its secondary fire. Good for dealing with crowds. Good with dealing for getting floor fires out and slowing things down and dealing damage over time. So pretty good overall. I was debating whether putting it in like high B tier for that, but I figured low A tier. Molotov, really good grenade. Really good at clearing small stuff. It's the one thing that it does, and it does it very well. The Fire M16, also pretty good. It's just like the regular M16, but this one does fire damage, so can't complain there. I could see somebody moving that to S tier just because it does fire damage, and you get the bigger magazine with it. 60 rounds is actually really nice with this thing. For, you know, not sacrificing damage or anything like you do with Commando. And then trench gun. Trench guns, or Dragon's Breath. Used to be the trench gun. Now it's Dragon's Breath. Dragon's Breath, really good. Really strong gun. I like the high capacity magazine with it. Holding 12 rounds is really nice. And does well overall. Dual Spitfires. I was debating putting these in S tier too. Like, nice weight, good upgrades, very good scaling, very good at clearing small things and very good at setting up floor fires. So very good overall. And I might move him up to S tier. I'm not sure. Maybe I will. There we go. Put that in S tier. Flamethrower, very good at killing small stuff and okay at killing big stuff. And then Helios Rifle, kind of the opposite. Very good at killing big stuff, okay at killing small stuff. And then the Helios Rifle, just really good at everything. So it gets S tier. So I guess that's my Killing Floor 2 Firebug list. What do you guys think of it? Did you guys change anything else around? I mean, like I said, I could see somebody pushing the shotgun up, maybe pushing the flamethrower down, maybe pushing the husk cannon down, maybe pushing the M16 up, and maybe pushing the microwave gun might go anywhere depending on what's going on with it. It's okay. All right. Well, I'm kind of interested to hear other people's opinion too, if they would move stuff around for whatever reason. For some reason, whenever I make a Firebug video, people seem to think that I pick on Firebug, which is a little bit strange. It's usually people that like main Firebug, but I don't hate Firebug or anything. I don't think they're the worst class in the game. I think they're pretty decent. They're pretty good overall. It's just like low ranks kind of suck with Firebugs. Firebug's not good without perks. Or the fire immunity. Fire immunity helps Firebug out a lot. Also, you could really use some sleep because you said Helios Rifle 2 times instead of husk cannon. Oh, did I? I was thinking about that too when I said that. I was like, didn't I just say Helios Rifle? Maybe I didn't. Maybe I said husk cannon. Yeah. Well, no. I'm gonna copy paste and put that over it and say that this is the little Helios Rifle. This is the big Helios Rifle. But yeah. I think that's where I'd organize everything. I still got a couple other classes to do, so we will be doing them at some point, probably in a couple days, and put them up as well. I've really been enjoying making these videos. You guys seem to enjoy them. Gunslinger is going to be a fun one to do because I don't know if I want to do each pistol individually or if I would just want to go with dual pistols. I should probably do each pistol individually as to how good they are, but then the list is going to be giant. So I might do that, and then for like I don't know if I want to do that for like when I do all the weapons as well. And then sharpshooter, like I said, I still got to get on to using the the compound bow, because I haven't used that one yet. I gotta see where that one is. That one should be fun though. I do like sharpshooter, and SWAT's going to be interesting as well. I want to use the Riot Shield and Glock 18 more than I have, just to kind of get a better feel for it. So yeah, I think that'll be a pretty good place to leave off here today. Thanks everybody for coming. I really do appreciate it. If you would like to donate, you can. We're going to be doing this charity stream for the whole week, so no need to rush. And if you can't donate, that's fine too. You can always share the streams. That really helps out too. Let's see. Next stream will be on Tuesday. So if you'd like to see what's going on then, show up then. I think it'll probably be more Kingdom Come Deliverance that day. This was fun to do, but it really destroyed my voice by the end of it, I can tell. That was a nice stream. Thanks. Oh, well, thank you, Useless Chubb, and thanks for coming out. Thanks for everybody coming out. Thanks for all the chats. Thanks for all the donations. Thanks for the subscribes, the likes, the follows, the raids, everything. I really do appreciate that a lot. And we're going to keep doing charity streams for the entire month of December. So, and the first week of January as well. So, thanks everybody. Have a great day, and I will talk to all of you guys next time. Till then, stay cool, and bye.